Hello. Hello. All right. Let's get us going here so I can see you. I think you can see me now, but I need to see you. So let us see here. Where are we? I had this just up and then I guess my screen went to sleep. What is it thinking? It's not bedtime yet. Oh, wrong one. Anyhow, hello. Hello. Uh, all right, Lil, come on. Come on. There we go. There we go. I think we're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. There we go. Okay. Come on, screen. Why can't I see you? Um, all right. Well, I can see that you guys can see me. So hello. Hello, Laura Williams. Oh, there we go. Hi, Laura Williams. And hello, Jennifer Day as well. I know both of you are in the same general area, right? Do you guys know each other? I think you do. Maybe. Maybe. If not, you should. You guys have something in common. Hello, friends. Hello. Happy Tuesday. Oh boy, are you excited? I'm excited. We are here tonight to dive right in. We've got lots of work to do tonight. But because this is a free class, I can't assume that everyone knows what is going on. So let me just take a minute or two and kind of explain what's going on. If we haven't met before, my name is Lael Kankar. I have a business called Lael by Mail. I manufacture all kinds of different products, traveler's notebooks and traveler's notebook inserts and stamps and dies. And all right, are we back? Are we back? I think we might be here. Um, I think we're back. May take a sec. I think we're back. We are. All right. So very interesting. Um, we froze and I went around the other side of my camera, my phone, and it said, do you want to reconnect? So no clue what happened there. We're just going to cross our fingers and hope that all is good because it's so frustrating when things like that happen, right? But I think we're good. I think we are good. Yes, I can see me, which is a good thing because I'm also, in addition to this, I'm also watching on my iPad so I can see what's happening. Now, I have no clue when. I have no clue how long I was talking when I looked down and noticed that I was frozen. So let me just back up for a minute. I will make this very quickly since I don't know when I caught up. Lil Concar, business Lail by Mail, lots of different products on my website at lailbymail.com. Tonight we're here together working on a mini book project kit that I have available on my website called Let's Go. I have made this class available free to anyone that would like to watch it. I've been doing that this year with a number of my products. The season pass classes have all been free this year. And because this is my own collection, it makes it really easy for me to offer it free. So if you are watching along because you purchased the project kit, awesome, good for you. If you are watching along because you have purchased the far and wide big bundle, all right, so I am back again. Um, Gosh, you guys. Well, we're okay. Here we are again. Hi. Hello, hello. Wow. Um, it's super unusual. Apologies. Especially if you have no idea who I am and we haven't met before. I know that's really frustrating. It doesn't normally happen like this, but you know what? It is what it is. We're just gonna send all the positive thoughts, and we should be. I can't even look to see what my. I have great Wi-Fi strength there, so I am not sure what is going on. Anyhow, we're gonna be patient. I'm going to keep looking at the screen more than I have been. And when I say the screen, I mean what's in front of me because that is when I can see that we've stopped. So just don't mind my eyes like diverting everywhere. Normally I like to talk to you like this, but I'm going to kind of keep an eye on my iPad up here so I can see if I stop talking. And then we'll just work from there if I do. One more time. Lil by Mail. My name's Lael Kankar. I make all different kinds of paper crafting products, travelers, notebooks, inserts, tools, craft storage pouches, stamps, dies, all different kinds of things. But we are working tonight with my brand new far and wide paper crafting collection. Just I can still see me. I should keep doing this so that I can see my eye, see my hand. Anyhow, we're working with my new far and wide travel collection that launched on May 1st. We will be working on tonight the Let's Go mini book project kit. So if you purchase that kit, great, wonderful, you know why you're here. Some of you may have purchased the Far and Wide Big Bundle, which gave you everything in the Far and Wide collection, and you may be working from that product to put together a project, whether it's the one I'm putting together or something kind of similar. You may have purchased some Far and Wide products a la carte, and if you did that, you may just kind of be hanging out to get some ideas on how to use them. Or you may have just stumbled across me and went, I'm kind of bored at this time and I'm going to see what this lady's talking about. I have been doing mini book project kits and classes for about 20 years. And I'm basically giving you all the secrets in this class. I do all kinds of interactive elements. I work with a couple of different types of pocket pages. We're going to do some fun things there. But because it's my collection, and that's how, I support my business, my employees, taxes, warehouse, and all that, because it is my collection, it's easier for me to offer a free class than it is if I'm using someone else's product. So in a nutshell, that is why we're here. There are a couple of links in the description box of the video down below, a link to the project kit. After you've kind of been watching for a while and you're like, hey, I kind of like this. I think I might want to make this. You've got a link to the project kit in the description box of the video below if you'd like to purchase that. There is also a link in the description box of the video to the Far and Wide collection. So all of the a la carte products, if you're just checking to make sure we're still here. Um, if you see something that you like, something that catches your eye in the collection, then you'll find a link to that product in the description box of the video down below. All right. So I'm going to rotate the camera. Once I rotate the camera, then I can see, yeah, working in the chat. Chat is good. Chat is great. Everything seems to be good, friends. We're going to cross our fingers and hope everything is good. I'm going to rotate the camera now, and that's where you'll kind of see me working. We'll be working together. I will be following along with the instructions. So, if you purchased the free class on my website, it's free. When you purchase that, it sent you an email with a link to the instructions, not the printed instructions, but the color step-by-step instructions of the project. Also sent you a link in that same document to some homework, and the homework surrounds doing the paper cutting in advance. So I plastered that everywhere, all the emails that went out. So hopefully you got that information about paper ahead of time. There are very specific cutting instructions that you follow that are in the printed instructions, that are in your instructions that you're downloading. So if you have not done your pre-cutting, we are going to jump right in, assuming that you have done your pre-cutting. So if you haven't done your pre-cutting, I would hit pause right now, go find that video, and then do your pre-cutting, and then you can come back and join us. All right. What else? What else? What else? I think that's good. If you're watching live, there is a live chat that takes place. That's how I've known that I froze. So if you want to hop into the chat and let us know that you're here, I would love to know that you're here. Whether you're a first timer, I would love to know, or whether you've been with me a long time, the last week, the last month, the last year. Some of you have been with me for a really long time. I've been doing this for, oh my gosh, teaching classes about 22 years. So it's been a really long time. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good. If you need to find me in the chat, if you're watching live, if you are watching the replay, there's two ways to get in touch with me. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment on the video, the replay, and or you can go to lailbymail.com and click contact us. Those are probably the two easiest ways to reach me. All right, so let's get all that out of the way. The cat, Reggie, if you know, you know. Reggie's sitting over here. He's not in his bucket. He's just sitting there with his eyes closed. So like he's sleeping sitting. I don't know. We're going to hope he doesn't bother us. And if he does, I will kick him out. All right. Reggie's the cat, not the husband. I should probably clarify that just so you know. All right, friends. Jennifer says, I feel like I've known you forever. Yes, Jennifer, we go back a really long time, a really, really long time, to when I was teaching at a store in Windsor, right? Hi, honey. And now that is the husband. I don't say hi to the cat. We've had a couple of different internet issues. All right, guys, I'm gonna rotate the camera and then we'll get going. Okay. All right. Okay. Uh, All righty, here we go. Hey, Nick, in just a few minutes, will you bring me another one of these, another water? Thank you. All right, friends. So, first order of business, I need to plug us in. I need to plug us in because we will be here for a while. Whoopsie. Pardon my reach. My setup here, my new setup, I moved to a warehouse. We moved to a warehouse a couple months ago and have now moved a filming studio down in the basement downstairs at my home, my home, our home. And that's where I am right now. So we're looking good. Yeah, I think we're looking good. So Oh, the whole setup. I'm about 75% done with the whole setup, the lights, the cameras, the action, all of that. It's just the last couple of things, well, kind of the last big things, getting the whole camera situation ready. So for now, we're still using my iPhone and doing a little manual rotation. Okay, so as I mentioned, this class, we're jumping in, assuming that you have already done the homework. If you're like, wait a minute, homework, wait, what's going on? All of the information was sent out if you purchased either the free class on my website at laelbymail.com under classes, whether you purchased the project kit, the Let's Go Mini Book project kit, even if you purchased a lot of far and wide product, I even sent you a link to download all of the document that has all that information because I didn't know. I assumed that you may be taking the class. And if you're still like, Lael, I'm so lost, I have no clue, shoot me an email. Once I'm done tonight, I'll get with you and we'll figure out what you need in order to get going. All right. But we are assuming you've done all of the pre cutting. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do, we are going to take everything out of our album. If you purchased the Let's Go Mini Book Project Kit, it included this 6x8 snap album from Simple Stories. If you did not purchase the project kit, you could also have purchased this from me a la carte, or you may just be, oopsie, we don't use this, the little do not eat, right? Let's get rid of that. Um, oh, I have new water. That's awesome. We are going to take everything out of the album and we're going to put it back in the order that we will be working on it. I've been teaching mini book project kits with these albums or similar albums, I'm going to say probably for about the last 15 years. And that's the first thing that I have us do is we take everything out. We're going to put everything back in the order that we're working on it so that when we are working on every page, we're not losing time by stopping and looking for a page and looking for a page. Everything will be in it. So we're going to do a little bit of more pre-work ahead of time. If you've not worked with one of the Simple Stories albums before, you'll notice when you open it, it doesn't necessarily want to stay open. This is a continuous piece of chipboard. We need to just kind of loosen up those seams a little bit. So if you noticed, I kind of just a little bit gently, right? I'm just gently kind of flexing both of those ends, and then that will help it to lay down flat. Don't go in there and Incredible Hulk it. We don't want to break that, right? We just very gently want to work with that so it will lay flat. After we do that, I want you to take everything out, and I am going to leave things in stacks as they kind of come out of the album. If you haven't watched one of my classes before on YouTube, just remember that you can pause at any time, you can rewind at any time. So if you need a little bit more time to get something done, you have time to just kind of pause and do what you need. All right. So as we open up these albums, there are two types of pages that already have a little bit of design on them. This stack is a little bit more office related, kind of looks like grid paper, graph paper, lined paper with numbers. So we have those. We also have our colored pages. The colored inserts coordinate with the color of the spine. So navy, navy. If you have red, you'd have red and so forth. So I'm going to keep all of those kind of together right there. Then we have the three chipboard dividers. All right. I'll leave those in a stack. Let me get my pre-cut papers out of the way here. And then I have all of the pocket pages. The pocket pages I am also going to leave in a stack. Um, They are always in these albums in the exact same placement. So on top, you have a couple of 6x8 pockets. That is one large 6x8 pocket. So you have several of those. As you go further into the stack, you have a pocket page that has two 4x6 on it, two 4x6 pockets, 4x6, 4x6. I'm going to leave those all stacked together. Below that, you have the last configuration, and this configuration has two 3x4s on the top and a 4x6 on the bottom. So if I keep that in mind, I have three different configurations. I know the 6x8s are on the top, the 4x6 is in their middle, and the kind of the combined 3x4, 4x6 is on the bottom. All right. Now, you also had a couple of pocket pages in your kit. And this would be whether you purchase the entire Let's Go Mini Book Project kit. Some of you bought the add-on supplies if you didn't buy the kit. So in either case, you have two more pocket pages that I want you to get out. You have this guy. This is a pocket page that is a whole bunch of little 2x2 squares. Keep that handy. We're going to put that one in kind of the very first thing. You also have a 12x12 pocket page. Now, if you're looking at the products that you pulled out of either the add-on supplies or the Let's Go Mini Book Project kit, and you're like, Lael, I don't have this. If we were together in person, there would be a number of you that'd be raising your hand saying, Lael, I don't have this. And you know what I'd say? No worries, friend. Go back to your kit bag and look again because this is clear and this is clear. Pretty much bet you that if you didn't see that, it is still left in your kit bag. All right. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me earlier today as I was getting everything out. I'm like, wait a minute, where is my 12x12 pocket page? What happened? Did that piece get missed? Nope, it was still in the bag. All right, so this we can kind of put off to the side a little bit. It's just a little bit larger. And this is not a mistake. Some of you are going, Lael, not my first rodeo here. This is a 12x12 pocket page and we're working in a 6x8 album. How is that going to work? Oh, just you wait and see. One of my very, very, very favorite techniques to do in these albums. All right, so as we get ready, hi Alyssa. She said hello, excited to be here. Debbie said I haven't done the homework, but I can't watch the whole class tonight, so I'm just observing tonight. Debbie, I will tell you, based on past experience, there will be a number of people that are here that may have even done all their homework, but they like to just kind of hang out and watch the first go round, and then they make the second go round. Okay, so as we are putting things in our album, first off, make sure your album is not upside down. You know your album is not upside down if your rings are over here on the right. If your rings are over here on the left and it closes like that, your album is upside down. All right, we want to be here. You want your rings on the right. So lots of blue over here, little blue over here with the rings. That's really important before we get started. All right, so we're going to start out with this pocket page. This is the pocket page that was, it did not come in your album. This was separate. So all the little 2x2 pockets. And as we are adding things back to our album, we're going to take whatever it is and we're going to put it on the left. All right, so we are assuming it's like a book. It's like a book. We read a page, and as soon as we read a page in the book, it goes over to the left side, at least if you are reading a book written in English. Japanese, it's backwards. Japanese, you start from the back and go this way, which is hard to get your head around, right? But we are assuming we read the page, so we put it in, and it is now sitting over on the left side. My rings are on the right, and the pages are on the left. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is add our first of the three chipboard dividers. Chipboard divider up at the top. All right, chipboard divider. It's the one that has the tab up at the top. That one is going in next. Again, it's like a page of a book that we just read. All right. Next up, we will be actually making quite a few pages in here. All right, quite a few pages we'll be making. So this is one that we'll be making, so you won't see it yet. All right, your grid or your graph paper. We want next. Okay. All right. We're still good. I froze for just a second there. Apologies, friends. Well, when I came downstairs, we had quite a storm going on outside. So I'm hoping if that's what's causing our issues tonight, that is over shortly. Hi, Miss Christine Davidson. Nice to see you. So fun to see you. I hope you're feeling better, friend. All right. So the page that we're putting in next, we just put in the chipboard divider with the tab at the top. We've pulled this paper. That is graph or grid paper. All right. So all of those lines are solid. There is one that looks kind of similar to that, like a dot grid. It is not the dot grid. It is the graph paper or the grid paper. All right. That one goes in next. And then we have a couple more pages we'll be making. We're ready to put in kind of our first pocket page that came out of the album. And if you kept all of your pocket pages in one stack, it would be the one at the bottom. This is a pocket page that has two 3x4s on the top and a 4x6 on the bottom. All right. Pocket page that has two 3x4s on top and a 4x6 on the bottom. That one is going in next. Then we have another one of our kind of designer pages, if you will. This one is the small polka dot. All right. Small polka dot is going in next. We have another pocket page. This one would come out of the middle of your stack. So a pocket page that has two 4x6s, one on the top and one on the bottom. Next up, we have another page that already has something on it, and it would be this guy. The lined notebook paper that has the numbers in the margin. All right, so you have two pages that come out of the book that are lined notebook paper. This one is the lined notebook paper that has the numbers in the margin. Then we have our second of the three chipboard dividers. That would be this guy. Second of the three chipboard dividers, it is the chipboard divider with the tab in the center. Another pocket page. The bottom of your stack has two 3x4s on the top and a 4x6 on the bottom. Going back to our stack of designer pages, if you will. This is the page that just plain lined notebook paper. All right. No numbers, no anything else, just the plain lines. Just adjust that for a second. There we go. Now I can see better. All right. Next up, we have another I don't know, I shouldn't say pre-designed because it's a little bit designed, but not a lot. We have this guy, the chunky stripe, kind of looks like a bit nice cabana at the beach or a beach towel. Then we have our third of the three chipboard dividers. Then we're going back to our pocket page stack to one of our pages in the middle. That would be our pocket page that has a 4x6 pocket at the top and a 4x6 pocket at the bottom. Let's see. Patty said, so if I didn't buy the kit, I need to cut those pages. So Patty, yes. And I would wait until we kind of get to these pages. If you didn't purchase the project kit, then if you don't have an album, then you don't have those pages. So as we get to each of those pages, I think you can kind of decide if you have paper from your stash that you may want to use. You wouldn't have, well, you will have a few extra kind of bits and parts from the Far and Wide collection that we won't be using the paper for. But yeah, for those guys, if you are using some other album than this one, then you want to substitute something in your stash for those. All right, then we are going to add this guy next. This is the large polka dot, and I will tell you. So if you are watching and didn't purchase the kit, I think you'll still get a lot out of it. You'll learn a lot of different techniques when it comes to working in an album like this, and really even outside of an album like this, we'll do a lot of interactive elements and layering and different things like that that I think you could use in any of your projects. regardless of what type of craft that you do. All right, next up, we have this guy. That is the one of the large 6x8 pockets. Okay, just one big old 6x8 pocket. Patty said, "I got the bundle. You want a red Simple Stories album?" Oh, I know, right? It. It was it. It's hard because there were a number of different colors I could have used of their albums, but I thought the navy. Navy's kind of my favorite, so that's what I went with. But yeah, lots of different options. All right, next up, another pocket page. This would be at the bottom of your stack. So pocket page that has two 3x4 pockets on the top and a 4x6 pocket on the bottom. We have another pocket page, middle of your stack, and really, actually, now it's at the bottom because we only have 6x8s and this guy left. This pocket page has two 4x6 pockets, one on top, one on the bottom. Diane said navy is perfect. She's using for her daughter's trip to France. Oh, that sounds like so much fun. As we are kind of working, if you are taking a breather, I would love to know in the chat, are you planning on using, if you're making the project, are you planning on using this for a particular trip that you've already been on, or maybe a trip that you plan on going on, or maybe just a trip that is a bucket list trip at some point in the future? Or maybe it's a mixture of a whole bunch of trips. All right. So next up, we are going to take basically everything that we have left. Ooh, hold on. I missed one guy. All right. We're going to take everything that we have left because I have missed this guy. This is the dot grid. So we're not going to panic. We're not going to take time to figure out where that is right now. We're going to take all of these pages that we have left and we're going to put them in the back of our album. So I have a diagonal stripe. I have that dot grid and I have three 6x8s. The 6x8s we will talk about when we get towards the end of the album. I don't use this guy. And then this one, we just need to figure out where I skipped it. All right. So all of those things will go in the end of our book. And if you have anything else besides that still left, don't panic. Don't feel like you need to stop and rewind because as we start working on a page and you don't have that page, you'll go, oh, I know where it is. It'll be in the back of your book and you'll know where to find it. All right. So let's see what we have. Kathy's doing Italy by rail. That sounds fantastic. Terry just got back from a cruise in March. She's doing her cruise. Laura said, "Not sure yet, but I will use it for something." Oh, Laura, I like your style. I don't know what it's for, but I'm going to use it for something. Deborah said, "My sister in Europe coming home Sunday. I'm making this for her." And I just know Deborah is. She makes a lot of projects like this for her family and friends, which I just think is so amazing, Deborah. I know they appreciate it. Tracy said, "I'm using mine for the best vacation ever. Trafalgar tour, European traveler visiting 8 countries in 2 weeks." Oh, loved it so much. I loved that for you, Tracy. That sounds amazing. All right, friends. So we are now ready to dive in. That is, if you are taking one of my classes, a mini book class, just know that's always how we start. We always get our book in order of the way that we are going to use it. There was one more thought that I just had. Oh, if you are ever starting a project without me, I've heard from a number of people, they have already finished the project. They didn't even wait to watch the video, which I love. That tells me that everything is really straightforward, right? That you can follow things pretty easily. Thank you, Terry, for the reminder to hydrate. It's important to hydrate, my friends. So you're working hard like I'm working hard. So make sure you're hydrating. So, if you were purchasing a project kit from me and you are not waiting for class, let me just kind of give you an idea of how you could get the project ready ahead of time, get all your pages in order, like we have just now. When you look at the instructions, and as a reminder, the printed instructions were not included in your kit this time. It's so that we could get the kits out to everyone as soon as the collection launched, knowing that I didn't have it all the way designed yet. I didn't have the instructions ready. So you received a link with those instructions if you purchased either the kit or from my website, you purchased the free class, which you can still do. Lailbymail.com, go to free classes. But to follow along, if you're doing it by yourself, cover, inside front cover. Do you see how those they're in blue in these instructions, but every instructions have that information. So if I look at this, 2x2 pocket page front, chipboard divider front, luggage pocket front. Now, you don't have that because that's something we're making, right? But as you can kind of see, as you are working your way through there, grid insert front, grid insert back, making another card and another card and another card. So the instructions guide you very easily with those little titles and kind of where you're going, how you're going. Alrighty. And the other thing I would just like to point out, and this is really, really important, and I just need to say this. Obviously, this is all of my own intellectual in terms of how I always like to mention, and it's included in the downloads, that anything that you are seeing me do here is all my own intellectual property and is copyrighted. So you can't take this and then, make it your own and then sell it or give it away to your friends or whatever it is. All right. Appreciate that. Okay. So we are going to start with the cover. Your instructions. They've given you a lot of information up front here. Your supply list. So the things, the tools that you need to work on the project with me. Scissors, stapler, and you can kind of see things there. There are also a couple of optional items that I have listed. Don't have to have them. Pretty much everything here you kind of have to have to do the project. But here, optionals. You also have a couple of different links there. Now, when I say links, you downloaded the instructions, so those links are all hot, meaning you can click on those links and they will take you to each of those places. A link to my kind of favorite products, if you're wondering the different things I use and where you can find those. Here on my YouTube channel, there is a flip through of the completed project. So if you want to see it completed before you're kind of digging in, that may help. And then here, as we get going, you'll notice there are quite a few pockets that are smaller than what would be considered standard, like a standard photo. For the most part, would be 4x6. You will find smaller pockets for smaller photos here. And I have a video here explaining how you can take a free app called Project Life to very easily get your smaller photos out of a 4x6. All right. So that should be super helpful for you if you're not sure how to do that. Couple of notes: save all of your packaging pieces. That's what I mean by this. This would be a packaging piece. There are some great things here that we are going to make use of, like that great little rainbow up there, right? That's a great rainbow that we can use in our project. On the back side of this particular package, these are the large die cuts. We are going to use all of those small pieces. Those are great. Now you have the large versions, right? The large versions in the die cuts, but those are nice size pieces that we can cut. They're not too, technical for us to cut. We don't have to do too much fussy cutting, but those will be great for us to use as well. So when I say saving your packaging, you have 3 packages of die cuts. I want you to save all 3 of kind of the backer cards from those. All right. Watch the pre-work, right? The homework. And then if you have not done that, what the pre-work will tell you, it will guide you through, as I did. We were cutting our papers all together during that pre-work. And so here you have the cutting instructions and the diagrams, but then I cut them with you at the end, or I'm in the pre-work. So now we're ready to dive in. Okay. So we are starting to work on the cover. The pieces that we need for the cover, and you have the photo right here. As we are working, I will be working very closely with the instructions because they're my friend. And if they're my friend, they will be your friend too, right? This is what's going to guide us through everything that we need to do. I will always be working with the completed project on one side and the kind of project that I'm working on the other side. So it'll be really easy to kind of reference back and forth what we've got going there. All right. Um, Once I get through the front cover and the inside front cover, I will only be working page by page. So if we're ready to work on this page, for example, I'll be taking this page out and then the corresponding page here out and then working with them side by side. That'll make it a little bit easier. So I would encourage you to do that too. As we get through those, pull a page out at a time and we'll work a page at a time. Alrighty, so for the cover, we are going to the 6.5 wide by 8 3/4 tall white grid piece. So one of the things that I suggested that you do when we did all of our homework was to keep all of your papers grouped by pattern, right? Grouped by the paper, right? So I've done that over here. I have all of my papers in kind of little divided little tray here. And so I am going to the paper. You'll notice here that it says postcards and passports on the back. So you had two different white grid papers. And I will show you the backs. They'll make it really easy to see what I'm talking about here. These are the backs. So on one side, you have white grid. On the other side of one, you also have a white grid. But on the other one, you don't have a white grid. This is actually the paper cover from my last travel collection, postcards and passports. And my printer printed way too many of the covers on accident and said, "Hey, do you want these? There's nothing we're going to do with them." And I said, "Well, of course, because I don't care about this side, but this is a great side to use, right?" So we here are looking for the piece that has postcards and passports on the back that is 6.5 wide by 8 3/4 tall. And I can tell it's the right one if I lay it on my cover and it pretty much fits. And I say pretty much fits. That does not pretty much fit, right? You can see that has way too much craft around it. This is the piece that we are going for. All right. So it's going to be a little bit larger. It's going to be a little bit too big, and that is by design. It will be a little bit wider, so it's going to overlap your navy here a little bit. I have taught with the hundreds of these albums, and when I say hundreds, I mean I have taught a lot of these projects, or projects using this particular album from Simple Stories. This little binder here is not always 100% straight, right? Your color here, not always 100% straight. So the way I account for that is making this a little bit wider than it needs to be so it will overlap whatever is here if it's not quite straight. The other thing you'll notice, it is a little bit too tall. It is a little bit too tall because in my instructions, I never go smaller than 1/4 of an inch. I don't know about you, but I don't like trying to figure out on my trimmer where 1/8 inches or 1/16 or 3/8 or 5/8 or 7/8. I mean, 1/8 of an inch is negligible, right? So everything we cut, everything we do is 1/4 inch or larger, which means I did not have you cut this at 8 and I don't know 7/8 or whatever it may be, right? So it's going to be a little bit of extra at the top. That little bit of extra at the top you could either trim off now, or I will show you what I do. I actually sand the edges, and that was one of the optional items on your supply list was the kind of a sandpaper sanding block. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to outline everything that I do. And when I say I outline everything that I do, you will see right here. Do you see how there's that black line that goes all the way around? That black line that goes all the way around, it's obviously not on our paper. I do that. I outline everything that I do. It just kind of helps to frame it a little bit. So it's easier if you want to do that when we're working on the cover to do that ahead of time. If you try to do that once you've already adhered this to the cover, it just gets a little trickier. It's not impossible, it just gets a little trickier. So I am going to take my favorite pen that I use for everything. That is just a little Sharpie felt tip, and I freehand that. As I do that, you will notice that my hand moves, my paper does not. And I had one continuous outline there, right? I didn't stop and start and stop and start. My hand is laying flat on my work surface because that helps give it a little bit of stability. If it makes you more comfortable to use a ruler, then you could certainly use a ruler. This will be the only thing that we outline together in class. The instructions do not tell you to outline. If the instructions told you to outline, other than the cover, the instructions would be 72 pages long because I literally outline everything. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is we need to adhere that paper to the cover. There's a couple of different ways to do this. As I mentioned, when I say hundreds, I literally mean I have made hundreds of these albums. I mean, obviously not the Let's Go one, but hundreds of projects using these albums. And by far, we're here. Now, we're here. Golly jeepers. Ugh. And if you guys weren't here, I tell you, I'd be saying something other than golly jeepers. I. We've been good for a while. So the good thing is I'm watching so I can see as soon as that happens and then I stop talking. So I was talking about adhesive, and the best type of adhesive, in my opinion, to use on these covers is a glue stick. When you are taking a full piece of paper or piece of paper that is the size of the cover, it's really important that you get your adhesive to all edges, all the way to the edge. If not, you will see gaps, right? And depending on what climate you live in, I've learned this the hard way. I live in Utah, very dry climate here. But when I go to Southern California, and I go there a lot, but if I go to Southern California, somewhere that's a little bit more humid climate, then I notice my paper kind of gets little, it tends to get little bubbles in it, right? If I'm using my tape runner, I get kind of either one large bubble here, even if I'm doing strips of my adhesive, I'm getting air bubbles or air pockets in there. So you can use whatever you want. One of my favorite things to say, if you don't know me, is you do you. So you use what you like, but that's why you had glue stick on your supply list. Because with a glue stick, and it doesn't matter, I am a glue stick. I don't care what kind of glue stick you use. Grab whatever I have handy. But the nice thing about a glue stick is you can get that adhesive all the way to the edge, right? You can get it all the way to the edge. And that's what's important. You don't want that paper to lift, right? We don't want that paper to lift. Generally, if you're going to see any part of it lift, it's going to lift on the edges. If we can try to get our adhesive all the way to those edges, and notice I didn't put it on the blue. Well, I kind of got a little bit on there accidentally, but I'm not putting it on the blue because I don't really have paper going there. I'm just doing that on that front cover, all the way to the edges, the craft part. Okay, now I'm going to get that off my fingers. I'm going to rotate this upside down. It's really important that you heard me say that. I am rotating this upside down because I am right-handed. It's much easier for me to work with this right-handed if I rotate it upside down. So this is the inside, right? This is, you'll notice there's my chipboard divider that's at the top. I rotated that. Much easier for me to get that placed in that lower corner. Now it's really my upper corner. Move that around. And then I am going to take my hand, palm of my hand. If you have a brayer and want to use a brayer, I've now just kind of moved that around. I just rotated it. But now I can make sure to get that all nice and flat. And as I'm doing that, I am really pushing that glue stick, all the way to the edge so that my edges shouldn't lift. All right. That is my method for adhering paper to these albums. And like I said, I've done hundreds of these. And you might think, Lyle, you're totally exaggerating. I worked for Simple Stories for 6 years and I've used their products for a really long time before that and after that. And that's just what I've learned. It works for me. So if you want to give it a shot, you can. Now, the other thing I mentioned, and when I open my drawer, we get a little shaky there for a second. So let me open my drawer and find my sanding block. That was another optional thing, I think. An optional, did I have that on there? Yeah, sandpaper or sanding block. That was on your supply list as optional. And this is why. Once I have my adhesive all the way to the edges, I can take my little sanding block, and this is my garbage because I don't want to sand on my work surface. I am just going to then gently sand those edges. That is going to kind of help that adhesive kind of even stick a little bit more. All right. So, and it just kind of finishes it off a little bit too. It kind of rounds everything, makes it look nice. When I said that it's going to be a little bit too tall, and that was by design, and I said you could cut it when we were there, or this is also when my little sandpaper sanding block comes in handy. I basically just sand off that excess up at the top, and it'll just come right off. And I will probably need to go in again and outline that. Just so you know, I always wait and outline. I outline usually after I get my whole cover done because I totally forget. But I know that makes it a little bit harder for you if you haven't really done a lot of outlining before, or maybe aren't so comfortable with it. It's a little bit harder to do when your book is when you're trying to do it on the book. But I'm going to do that right now because I sanded off that top of the outline. Here's a little tip if I've got sandpaper now all over my top of my camera. If I don't know if you can see this, I just took this and hung the basically the rings off the back side of my table. And so that kind of helps it be flat for me. If you want to do something like that and hang that off the kind of the back side of your table, that will give you a flat surface right there. All right. So there we go. Our cover is started. All righty. Next up, and remember, if you're still working on something, just go ahead and press pause. You've got all the time in the world because this video won't go away. You can come back and watch it at any time, anytime you need. All righty. We are now ready for adhere the half globe large die cut and the yellow geotag. Okay, so half globe large die cut. That is coming from our package of large die cuts. That guy. Isn't that fun? That really large globe. Now, that large globe, the large die cuts are meant to be used in a couple of different ways. And this is probably the most basic of the ways. We just have a really large half globe and we're going to adhere it. But you'll notice on the back of all those large die cuts, you have that same grid or graph print, meaning that in down the road, when we use a couple of the other ones, you could write on the back side of that if you wanted. I use these in my traveler's notebooks too to make little tip ins with tip in tape. But in this case, with our globe, we are just going to adhere that. Now, I am from here on out going to use my regular tape runner. I won't use a glue stick again. I only use a glue stick in this project for adhering that kind of burr. And it is going flush with the edge of the paper. Okay. Next up, we have that yellow geotag. Now, you have two packages of die cuts. You have the icons and you have the titles, right? Titles. There's a third package of die cuts that we don't use. Yeah, the die cut titles. There's a third package called words and phrases. That's part of the far and wide collection, but something that we don't use in this particular project. So when I'm working with die cuts, especially if I'm teaching a class, you will see me do this. I will sort all of my die cuts ahead of time. And that was not something I told you to do ahead of time. Just part of my own makes it easier when I'm teaching a class to find things quickly. So I actually have two different little containers, kind of like this, where I've sorted my die cuts. And I sort them in a way that makes sense to me. For example, I've got some taller pieces here, big circles here, windows and stamps there. So I've just organized these in a way. I've just organized those in a way that makes sense to me. Now, some people I see when they organize their die cuts, they organize them by color, right? So maybe organizing by color makes sense to you. So if you want to organize your things ahead of time, you do what makes sense to you. Let me make sure that we're still here. All right. If I'm not, if I'm talking and my hands aren't moving, then I can't tell that I'm still here. That you guys can still see me. And you don't have to have a divided container like this to kind of organize your things. You could get a cookie tray from the kitchen. Just almost you can spread things out and see them. If you can see everything, it makes it a lot easier to find. If you're trying to find the pieces as you're digging them out of the bag, you're probably going to get frustrated. All right. So we are looking for a geotag. And a geotag is, hang on, let me just pull this guy out. I just need to remember where I would have put that now, huh? Oh, wait, over here. Geotag is that little yellow piece. You have a couple of different geotags in your die cuts. And so I'm going to come in and there he is. He's hiding from me. There we go. And we might as well, while we have all of our die cuts out, let's get all of the rest of the pieces for the cover. We need this very large die cut that says travelogue, enjoy the journey. That guy. All right, so we'll have that little guy out as well. We need the words that say let's go. And I've got all my small words kind of grouped together here. That's what made sense to me. So we have let's go. We need the airplane, and it's the airplane that is flying to the right. You have two airplanes. One flies to the left and one flies to the right. So this is the airplane that we're looking for, the one that is flying to the right. We have a ticket, and I kind of put all of my tickets together as well. This ticket that says where to next. Grab that little guy. Where to next? All right. That will kind of be the start. We'll have a couple of things to finish up as soon as we get those things adhered. But let's go ahead and get those things on. I used a pop dot or a foam square for my geotag. So we'll grab those and we'll put that little guy right there. Now this is part of the world, right? It's a globe. It is part of the world. It is a half globe, so we're only seeing half of the world. Actually, not even half of the world. But this little guy, I am just going to put, I don't know, right about there. It doesn't necessarily mean that that is where I'm traveling. It's just kind of more generic. That's where we are-ish in the world, right? I wonder if let me see. I am going to, uh, I was hoping I had some baby wipes in here, and I don't. So I just licked my fingers, licked my fingers, and rubbed them on my pants. I've got a little bit of glue stick still on them. I don't know. Sometimes we do what we have to do, right? Okay, next up, we are going to adhere the Let's Go die cut with pop dots. And I gave you some dimensions. About 2¼ inches from the top and 1/4 inch from the right edge. Now, here's the thing. When I'm designing, I don't have my ruler out. I'm not, figuring out, ooh, where do I want that to be? I'm not measuring. So what I would like to tell you is, hey, put that kind of over here along the side a little bit. But I know some of you are like, oh, good, totally. I'm good with kind of over there along the right a little bit. And some of you are like, no, 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 I want to know exactly where to put it. So if you are the latter, it is about 2¼ inches from the top. So let's go ahead and add our little foam squares or pop dots. In the instructions, I always call them pop dots. That is just how I grew up I grew up calling them pop dots, right? Back in the day, and I've been paper crafting for about 29 years, really long time. This is what we had back then. And those were dots, and you would pop them out of the sheet, right? So I've always called them pop dots. But I am going to just add some little pop dots or foam squares to the back of my title, to the back of let's, and to the back of go. If you have foam tape, and it makes it a little bit easier for you to do it with foam tape, then go ahead and do that. So, in terms of how class will go tonight, we take quite a bit of time putting the album in order the way that we're going to work on it, right? But that is time well spent because it will save us time as we're working. We also spend a good amount of time on the cover because you know what they say. Well, they say you can't judge a book by a cover, but I think when you're working on a project like this, you can judge a book by its cover, right? That's really what sets the tone for the whole project. So we want to, spend a good amount of time on the cover and getting our cover completely done. And then as we get going, we will get this project done tonight. I'm going to say we will be here about 4 hours total ish. That's why I had us do the cutting ahead of time. There's only one other time when I do a mini book project kit that I've started having us do our project cutting ahead of time, and that is with my Dear December, because that's a really long project. But we're going to get it all done ahead of time, and there is a technique that I have that we will use that will help us to get it done ahead of time. And or not ahead of time, but will help us get it done tonight without spending 18 hours on it. All right. So if you are not really one to measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My let's go starts at about the 10th line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that is if you were using the graph paper that is part of the kit. This graph paper that we're using is my Lail by Mail 12 by 12 graph paper. Um, so you can measure based on those little squares or grids. And it pretty much goes over to the right edge. I mean, it's not quite to the right edge, maybe, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an inch from the right edge. Carrie said, totally judging the book by its cover. And this one is amazing. Thank you, Carrie. I'm glad you're enjoying it. All right. And then we have go, right? We have let's and go. So we use a big guy there. And did I? Oh, yeah, I put them there too. Gotta make sure that we don't end up with a saggy go. I don't know. I don't want a saggy anything, let alone a saggy go. Maybe you like saggy things. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Um, anyhow, we are adding our little foam squares to our go. If you want to add your pop dots, you can, your foam squares. Otherwise, you're fine. You can just put everything down flat, right? No right or wrong. You do you. Okay, and then this guy is just kind of going right below centered-ish, right? Right below centered-ish. Next up, we have the white string. Let's talk about that. If you ordered the project kit, or if you ordered the add-on supplies because you ordered the far and wide big bundle, you have an add-on kit or add-on supplies. Add-on supplies have a couple different pocket pages in them, a couple of different 12 by 12 papers, two of the grids, and then a black, and then you have this little bag full of goodies. This is one of my favorite things to use in a mini book project. I used this for the first time, I think two years ago, maybe, in one of my December documented mini book project kits, and it was so fun. So I thought I'll bring it back. But in that bag, and I'm just going to have us get this guy out right now. You have 2 yards of, I think it's called crochet thread. It's kind of like string, right? It's not, maybe not as long as, not long, maybe it's not as chunky as regular string, but it's called crochet thread, I believe. You have 2 yards. You have plenty here to use for what I did in the project. And this will be the only time together that we will be using the string. As we are working, I will show you where I use the string. You'll see it in the instructions, but we won't do any of the other string together because that's not something you need me for. We'll talk about it, you'll see it, and then I'll have you do that on your own. But here, we need to trim 6 inches of this little white string. So grab your little scissors out, 6 inches of the white string. Have a good night, Debbie. Yeah, some of you are East Coast, or even beyond East Coast. I don't know. You could be watching anywhere in the world, and it could be well beyond 7 p.m. 7 p.m. I live in Utah, Mountain Time Zone, so it is 7 p.m. But that's the beauty of this platform, YouTube. You can watch it whenever you want, right? All right, so I have a 6-inch piece of string. Some of your die cut tags will already have little holes in them. This one does not. This is the Where to Next die cut tag that I had us cut out. Or not cut out, excuse me. It is it's one of your die cuts. There's a little space up at the top for a hole, but there's no hole there. So I am going to take either my scissors very carefully or a paper piercer or maybe a pencil that's sharp. Basically, I just need to poke a little tiny hole. If you happen to have a very small hole punch, like really teeny, you could use that. If you, there we go. I have a paper piercer, so it kind of looks like an ice pick, right? I'm going, oh, not that guy. I keep pulling that one out. This guy, there we go. I'm going to use that just to poke a hole right in that top. You really won't kind of see much of the hole because we'll be stringing our string through it. But my idea there, we want to preserve a lot of that red outline. If you don't want to mess with a paper piercer or scissors or something else to punch the hole, you could just go ahead and use your regular hole punch. Just, make sure you don't punch to the top. All right, so I punched a hole. And now I am going to thread that 6-inch piece of string through there. Of course, I have to put that, get it all slimed up, put it in in my mouth, I guess. I don't know. Between my lips to make that, go through that little hole there. So now I have my little tag. I am going to tie a knot in the end of the tag. So it's almost like it was tied on something, right? There will be other times in the project where we are not tying the ends, and I'll show you those when we get there. But in this particular case, we are tying those ends. All right. So now it just looks like something that was, a little tag with its little thing. All right. So this guy, it has foam, squares, pop dots, whatever it is, all behind it. All right. So that whole thing is popped up. We'll just go ahead and put those little guys on there. Kathy said the small side of the crocodile works well. Yes, thank you, Kathy. If you happen to have one of those tools, a crocodile, there's a large punch, a hole punch, and a small hole punch. The small hole punch would work very well for that. All righty. So we have that all ready to go. And this guy, if you look, is getting adhered at an angle. Let me get rid of my string there. It gets adhered at an angle, kind of right there. It is completely on the book. None of the tag itself hangs off the book. Um, but the string will hang off. All right. So let me just kind of hold that up so you can see that. Next up for placement, we need our airplane. So our airplane needs to make sure to fit in there. The airplane I also used foam squares on. You'll see I use a lot of foam squares on the top just because it really helps to give it more dimension. If you don't want to mess with it, absolutely just go ahead and use whatever adhesive that you normally would use and just go ahead and adhere those pieces down. But I like to use a lot of foam squares or pop dots or whatever, especially on the cover. It just makes it just elevates it a little bit, right? All righty. And I know it's like watching paint dry as I'm pulling off the little things here off the back sides of uh, the back sides. Now, um, I am going to normally, if it was on the inside of the project, inside pages, I wouldn't worry about those little hanger offers, those wings. But I do here because if on that cover, the cover usually gets a lot of kind of wear and tear with it, right? It just gets, it's just out exposed to the elements. I want to take a couple more of my little foam squares, and I'm just using Teflon scissors here. So my little foam pieces won't stick, but I've just kind of cut those in half so that I can still get those pieces lifted so they won't sag. Do another one, maybe right down here at the end, and one right over here. And my airplane is ready to be adhered. So with the airplane, you'll see mine is it's like it's taking off, right? It is kind of flying upwards at an angle. It's not at cruising altitude yet. It's also not, doesn't have its landing gear on. So this little guy, just kind of a little bit of an angle like that. Partially in the white part, partially on the globe. And then we have this big piece. All right. So this big piece is going to fit right about there. It is going to overlap partially our tag, and it is going to sit right under the airplane. This also gets pop dotted. The one part that I am not going to put my pop dots or foam squares on is kind of right here, behind the upper right corner, this stack of yellow, blue, and green suitcases. I don't want to put any of my foam adhesive there because it's actually going to sit on top of, a little bit of it will sit on top of that tag. So depending on exactly where you've placed things, just kind of be aware. You don't want part of this to be double popped, right? Because it's got a pop here. And if you put the pop there, it'll be double popped. Sounds like we're talking about popcorn or something, right? So the bigger your pop dots or foam squares at this point, the better. just because it will take less time and fewer of them for you to put down. Well, let's get these scissors out of the way. So once we get going after the cover, the things will, I don't want to say that the speed will pick up a lot. It's just that the things that we get done will start to get a lot more done in a shorter amount of time than we have so far in the cover. Like I said, cover's just super detailed. So you'll see as we get there. Let's see. Susan said, oops, I worked ahead and did not allow enough room in the area used for the airplane. So I put my plane higher up near Let's Go. It kind of looks like it is flying high in the air. Perfect, Susan. And I love that. I love that you shared that because you know what? Sometimes things don't quite go according to plan, right? And you just pivot. You pivot, like our friends on Friends when they're trying to carry the couch up the stairs. Pivot. Ross yelling, pivot. All good again. We're good. It's back. I'm back. I'm back. Hang tight. Mm-mm. There we go. I was just typing to you. Oopsie. I was typing to you to tell you that I was back. I don't know. Yeah. Internet technology. Wah. Yeah. All right. So we have now completed most of our cover. Um, I have added my Let's Go. I added my globe. I added my geotag. I added my airplane. I have my tag with my string and my large kind of travel log. Enjoy the journey here. So there's one more piece that I did that we want to talk through. So we're going to take not a quick break, but we're not going to work for a minute, or I'm not going to work for a minute. No sound. No sound. No sound. Go out and come back in. All right, let's try that. Let's try to you can hear. All right. So, um okay, good. Good, good, good. So, here's something I learned a long time ago. Even though it never has happened, if you think no one can hear you, they probably can. They might be able to. So be careful what you say, right? I didn't say anything. All right. Good. I'm glad you can hear me. If one of you will do me a quick favor, if you can just type in the chat, will you please say, if you don't have any sound, please hit refresh, so that if someone is still experiencing a problem where they're not hearing anything, that is not on our end. Good thing, because once I know that everyone in the chat, for the most part, can hear me, then we're good. So if someone would do that for me, I would sure appreciate it. All right, so we are going to talk about rub-ons. You have a package of rub-ons in your kit. You have a package of rub-ons in your kit. You guys are so awesome. Thank you. Everyone's saying that. If no sound, hit reset, hit refresh. I appreciate it. You have a package of rub-ons in your kit. But I want to talk about rub-ons for a minute because you may have not used rub-ons before. Maybe you have used rub-ons before, but it's been a really long time before you use rub-ons. I want to do kind of a quick rub-on 101 to make sure we're all on the same page when it comes to rub-ons. So if you haven't used rub-ons before, well, I should say this. If you have used rub-ons before, but it's been a really long time, let me tell you, not your father's Oldsmobile. Rub-ons are so different today than they were way back in the day. I should at least say mine are. I can't say that for everyone's. I don't know. I use mine. I use a couple of different, different manufacturers, or a couple of different companies. I use their rub-ons, right? Some Simple Stories, some 49 a Market. And theirs are good, but I don't use everyone's rub-ons. So I can't necessarily speak for everyone else's rub-ons. I can just speak for mine. And many of you can speak for them as well because you tell me, and Jennifer said just now, OMG, rub-ons have come a long way, right? So let's talk about them. When you open the package, you have, with my rub-ons, you have 2 sheets of designs, right? So you have design. They're separate, right? You also have a very fancy rub-on applicator, or otherwise known as a popsicle stick, right? We just need something blunt. That's what it comes with. You'll notice behind both sheets of your rub-ons, if you gently start to peel back that top sheet, you will notice it has a friend behind it. That friend is very important. That friend kind of feels a little bit like parchment paper, but it almost feels like a little bit slicker. That is a really important part of rub-ons. That sheet that is behind each design is there to protect the rub-on, to make sure it doesn't accidentally get rubbed on something you don't want it to rub on. All right. So it's important that those two sheets stay together, the design sheet and its little friend behind the world, you guys. Golly, I'm so sorry. I have no clue. I've never had it do anything like this before. It's back. It's back again. I can see it. We're back again. All right. Um, so with your rub-ons, I want you to take a stapler and I want you to staple your rub-on sheet to its little friend behind it. All right. So we're doing with that each of the sheets. You have two sheets of rub-ons like that, and you have two of their little friends. So we are going to staple each sheet to its friend right up at the top. And that is going to help prevent your rub-on from rubbing somewhere where you don't want it to be. All right. Laura just asked a question. What camera stamp do you use to stamp where your photos go? Laura, that was from it was from the postcards and passports mini icons. And those have sold out, but there is also a camera on the far and wide mini icons. So a little bit different, but very similar to that. Okay, good question. All right. So we have that's our first thing. The first tip when it comes to rub-ons, staple the two sheets together. That is so, so, so important. I can promise you, you will never regret doing that. Next thing, we are looking for a definition. I have used the definition rub-on that says wanderlust, a strong innate desire to rove or travel about. I added that rub-on right below my kind of title die cut. So, next tip with rub-ons, I want you to get your scissors out and I want you to cut the rub-on away from the sheet. And I'm not only cutting the rub-on away from the sheet, I am cutting the rub-on away and its little protective friend behind it. All right. So, you'll notice there's a big old chunk right there out of the corner of my rub-on sheet. There it is. And I want to keep those two guys connected until I'm ready to use it. I'm talking with my hands. I put those away. It was in my right hand. I moved it to my left hand. I'm putting my scissors down. I am still holding both of those pieces together, the rub-on and its little friend right behind it. And I want to keep those two together until we're ready to use the rub-on. All right. Because if I'm like, oh, shoot, the phone rang, or oh gosh, I have to go to the bathroom, or I need something to drink, I want to set that down and have it still be protected until I'm ready to use it. Once I'm ready to use it, I am going to take its little friend and off it goes. It's almost like a rocket going to the moon or the space shuttle, right? Part of it blasts off and it's done, and then you have the real work begins, right? So here is my rub-on, Wonderlust. I am going to set it right under here. The big thing with rub-ons is once you set them down, that's pretty much where it's going to stay. You don't want to, like if it's crooked or you decide you want it to go somewhere else, you really shouldn't try to lift it back up, because when you look at the back of that rub-on, it's a little bit sticky. And so wherever I stick it, even if the whole thing doesn't stick, part of it is likely to stick. And if I try to pick it up, part of it's going to remain on the sheet and part of it will be here. And then I'm going to have a heck of a time trying to get the rest of it on. Don't try to get a rub-on off of somewhere that it is. It's not going to work. You'll end up digging a hole in your paper, okay? So I've got Wanderlust. I am going to slide it right here. And I'm going to set it down and I am not going to let go. That is the next really important tip. In my opinion, I always just share my opinion. You don't want to let it go. That rub-on is sticking in part of the places and part on part of the cover and not sticking on others. Once I start with my popsicle stick, rubbing that area, more and more of that is going to kind of lift off of that sheet and start to stick to my cover. and I want to hold on. I don't want that to move. If I'm not holding on tight and that moves, then those words are going to move. Those words are going to move. The problem with that is part of my words are already there, and if part of them move, that's going to look really odd. Now, I've already adhered this part. I've rubbed on this part. I need to put my thumb here. I'm rotating. I'm still holding on, you notice. I'm still holding on. I'm never let go. That's really important. And now I can come over to this part. All right. And as long as you're always holding on, you're okay. Once you let go, then that's where I think people sometimes run into a problem with the rub-ons. Because if that rub-on moves again, then part of it's down and part of it's moved. So once I think it's good, right? But I should never assume that it's good. I should take a peek. So I'm taking my little reverse grip tweezers here, and I'm going to very slowly start lifting up from one end. All right, let me get that under there. There we go. Slowly, slowly, slowly start peeling that back. And as I go, if any part of that has not adhered, I'm okay. All I have to do is lay it back down and rub on and lift it back up. If it hasn't moved, I'm okay. But once it moves, then things get dicey, right? So I'm going to continue here to lift, lift, lift. It all looks good. And then I just take my finger and kind of rub over that, and it is all good. All right. Jennifer said, after you place your rub on, you can go over the area with the powder tool. It reduces shine and removes any stickiness that may remain. I learned that from Vicky Booten. Perfect. So, one of the things I have on your supply list as optional is baby powder or a powder tool. There are a number of different manufacturers that make powder tools. This is my favorite. It's by Tailored Expressions. You have to go to their website to get it. I can't get this wholesale from them. They don't sell wholesale to online stores. So, but this basically, it's almost like there's a little bit of baby powder in there, right? So what, let's see, what Jennifer is suggesting, what Vicky suggested is then you take your powder tool or whatever it is over that, go over the top. That makes it kind of for sure flatten down, and it will get rid of any little bit of a shine that you may still have there. Great tip. I love it. All right. Let's see. Louisa said observation, and this was a bit ago. She said 58 watching and 57 thumbs up. Well, we've got 75 watching now and 56 thumbs up. So more thumbs up, more thumbs up. Carrie said, Lael's rub-ons are so good. They're some of the easiest I have ever used. I am glad that you feel that way. I feel that way too, but I think that if you guys say that, it means more than me saying that. So thank you. Jennifer peels halfway from one end, that holds that end down and pulls up the other end. Perfect. Now they're great. As long as you're holding on and kind of peeking, you should be good. All right. So there we go. Our cover is ready to go. Okay. If you need another minute to finish your cover, please, please, please go ahead. Take whatever time you need, press pause, and then join us when you are ready. All right. Now we're ready for the inside front cover. Inside front cover. I did a lot on this inside front cover. So this is where this will be the only part where things kind of get tricky because I kind of don't have enough room. Once we get inside front cover done, then we are able to put one of these, put the books away and then just basically be working page by page. All right, so we are down here inside front cover. We're looking for our 6.5 by 8 3/4 rainbow lined piece. Minute, don't worry, I got you. You didn't miss anything. I saw it. Come on, come on, come on, little internet. It's coming. It's coming. I can see. There we go. All right. You didn't miss anything. Don't worry. I saw that as soon as it happened, so I stopped talking. We are looking for the rainbow piece that is 6.5 by 8 3/4. It is the back side of the collection cover. All right. So if you did all the pre-work ahead of time, we already have this cut. This collection cover, my paper covers, It's paper, right? It is just like all the other paper that is in the collection. So might as well give you a pattern that you can use on the back side, right? There's no sense in leaving that just blank. So that is what we're using here. You have two. Want to make sure that you have the piece that is 6.5 by 8 3/4. And you can pretty much tell, right? There's a big difference. If I put that there, it's not supposed to look like that. We shouldn't have any brown or craft cardstock there, right? We want that to meet the whole cover. Yes, let's have a quick hydration break. Thank you, Louisa and Joanne. Mm, important to hydrate. You know what? I just put my water over there in kind of a credenza thing here in my filming studio, and it just sat right next to the album for my Christmas collection this year, which is called Holidays. I got the sample of the album, doing my own album again for that. So it's just kind of over there, just kind of giving us all a little tease. All right. We want to adhere that. Basically, we are going to adhere it just like we did the other one. If you want to use your glue stick here, you can use your glue stick here. If you want to use your regular adhesive here, you can use your regular adhesive. I'm not as picky when it comes to the inside front cover as I am the front cover, even though we're still adhering to chipboard. And that is because it's not going to get as much wear and tear your inside cover as that front cover does. All right. So you can decide what you want to do, if you want to use your glue stick or you want to use your tape runner, whatever you do, just go ahead and give it a nice, a really nice. I will again grab my sanding block because um do you want to see it? Well, yeah. So, um, it's gonna have some gold foil on it. Some really fun gold foil on part of it. And my sample doesn't have the gold foil on it yet. We'll see. We'll see, Jesse. All right. But do need to come in and oh, it's taunting us over there. I need to come in and this is very awkward for me doing it this way because I'm trying to do it so you can see it and also not make a mess on my work surface. Normally, I would do this off to the side, but I'm just coming in and sanding that extra top off again. And just as a quick reminder, the reason I do that, I did have you cut that longer than it needed to be, right? It's cut longer than it needed to be because I didn't make us measure in eighths of an inch. I find that I've been teaching for a really long time. As soon as you tell someone an eighth of an inch, you start to see people's eyes roll in the back of their heads, right? So we just need to trim a little bit of that off. Then we're good. And it's now I've made a good old mess with my paper shavings. When we need a break, I'll show you. How about that? I know what I should say. Oh, how about if I say this? Next time it happens again where we buffer, I'll show you. Well, I'll show you after the buffering's done because you know what? That's a surefire way, Murphy's Law. You guys will want to see it and it won't buffer again. We'll see if that logic works. All right. So we're adhered there. I have outlined that. I'm not going to take the time, as I mentioned earlier, I won't take the time to outline anything else in class. That's something that you can do at any time. So I won't do that. I'm going to skip that. Now we are looking for, let's grab the pieces that we need. Back to our large die cuts. Our large die cuts, we have this large film strip. Okay. Large film strip. I am getting rid of those three centers. All right. If you wanted to keep those, the backside of them have white grid, you can keep them. I didn't use those three centers for anything. We also need a couple of other film strips. The other film strips are smaller die cuts. So it would be these two guys. All right. They also have centers. Those centers we are also popping out. So we're working with kind of three little film strips here. One of the three, the larger of the three, you will have photos in the center. This is the first time we're seeing something like that. Anytime you see a little camera like that on white, that is where I will be putting a photo. You don't have white like that in your kit. You don't have those little pieces with cameras on them. You don't even have that little camera. That's a stamp that I use to kind of identify, that's where a photo will go. Now, I didn't tell you in this particular case what size photos I used there because you've got the piece. Everywhere else, I will tell you what size photos I have used if you want to do what I did. Okay, so here we're going to take this piece. You probably don't have photos yet, right? I don't have photos yet either. So I am not going to adhere this whole piece. All I'm going to do, I will turn it over. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive along the bottom on the side. So basically, I put a little bit of adhesive right there and a little bit of adhesive right there. So that way I can put this guy right. Let me see if I told you where to put that. 0.75 from the top and 1 inch from the right edge. All right. So you just want to make sure, even if you're normally not a measurer, we need to make sure that we have room for all of this treatment down below here. All right. So this one you might want to measure. We're 3/4 of an inch from the top and about 1 inch from the right edge. The top is more important kind of than the right edge, but 3/4 from the top, 1 inch from the right edge. So we're right about there. And that is going straight, straightish. Now remember, I only put my adhesive down here. So when I'm ready to add my photos, look how easy. Slide, 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 and then I can add my adhesive and then that will hold that down, right? So just kind of temporarily tacked down. Next up, we are going to take the longer of the two smaller pieces, right? We've got a long, tall, skinny, and kind of short and squatty. Tall, skinny. I am going to take just a little glue pen, just because it's easier for me to adhere this with a glue pen than it is my tape runner. My glue pen might be on its last legs. And if you have your tape runner, you can use your tape runner. This guy is just going to go kind of at an angle. If you look at it right here, it's this one right here where my thumb is. So it goes kind of at an angle and it also just kind of tucks down underneath that lower left corner. So I'm just going to peel that back a little bit. Like so. All right. And then this piece is going to lay on top of it also at an angle. So let's go ahead and get this little guy. Yeah, it's time for a new glue pen. I need to remember to get one of those from the warehouse tomorrow. I no longer have everything at my house. If you didn't know that, prior to, I don't know, March this year, right? Um, we ran my entire business out of the house, shipped everything from here, and it was a lot. But the nice thing was, is when I needed another glue pen, I just grabbed a glue pen. All right, so they're just overlapping like so. Now we have some decorating to do. We are going to adhere the Rome die cut with pop dots. So Rome, that would be in my little tray of small words, just as I organize. So we'll find those. And you know what? Let's go ahead and find all of the die cuts that we need right now for this inside front cover. So you're not going back and forth. All right. We have Rome. We have this little sign. And where would I have put the sign? That's one of the things about getting organized is then you have to remember where you put it, how you organized everything, right? I remember seeing it. So if I was a sign, where would I be? Where did I put it? I have no idea. What did I do with it? All right, friends, I have lost my first piece. So rather than continuing to try to, oh, golly, to look for it, right? I am just going to continue on because I could probably sit here and look for it for an hour and then you know what'll happen? in 10 minutes, I'll be like, oh, look, there it is. Or I dropped it. Did I drop it somewhere? I don't know. Um, you will next grab your sign die cut. All right. Yeah, not a sticker, right? Not a sticker. I had to feel behind it. Yeah, not a sticker. Sign. You will adhere your sign. I adhered it with pop dots. Oh no, we're still looking. Sorry, we're still looking for our pieces. So we found Rome. Hopefully you're finding your sign. And then we are looking for these 1, 2, 3, 4 postage stamps. The one that looks like Greece with the buildings with the blue tops, blue roofs. You have the little hat, sun hat. You have what looks like Niagara Falls, and you have the palm trees. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're looking for those 5 rub-ons. I mean, rub-ons. Those 5 die cuts. All right. So now I'm going to get those. Oh, here it is. I knew it. I'd find it. There we go. All right. The biggest challenge with your die cuts, if you're organizing them, is to figure out how you organize them. All right. So there's the hat. Here is Greece. Here is Niagara Falls. And here is palm trees. All right. So we are going to add all of those pieces. All right. So Rome, I added with pop dots, right? That again just makes it, well, obviously makes it pop a little bit off the page. There's kind of a lot going on here with that background. So if I can add a little bit of dimension, that adds a kind of a little bit of separation from the busy background and that word, Rome. Also works well right there because there's so much color going on, and that is a very kind of contrasting black and white. So it layers well on top of that. That will go. It ends, the M is pretty much lining up with the right edge of that chunky film strip. Then we have our sign. Our sign, basically everything else is getting pop dotted here. We've got our sign. So our sign, we will pop dot. Where are the rest of my big ones? I've got lots of little sheets of pop dots here. Foam squares. Your fun sign, navigate, must see, trail, rest stop, wanderlust, lookout, carefree, scenic route. Nick, my husband and I kind of took off for a long weekend. We left on Thursday, got home late last night, went to southern Utah. We were in southern Utah, we were in Arizona, we were in Colorado. We were actually even for like 2 minutes in New Mexico. That part of the United States is called the Four Corners. So you can be standing in all 4 states at one time. Well, standing, 2 legs, and then your arm, you kind of bend over and your arms are in the other states. We didn't go to Four Corners. We'd been there before, but part of where we were going, we drove through New Mexico. So what's interesting is when we are traveling like that, we have an RV and we go off in our RV and we go to the middle of nowhere. We are boondocking, so we're camping in the middle of nowhere. We were in an area called Valley of the Gods. But we did a lot of driving on that trip. And when he's driving the RV and I'm passenger princess, he calls me, I start thinking a lot and I come up with some new product ideas when that happens. So I came back with like 5 or 6 new product ideas from that trip that you will see coming some point this year. All right, so this little guy is going right here. And it's going just to the left of Rome. All right. You can see it kind of that little yellow part of the scenic route, that R just kind of snuggles right in there. And then we'll work our way up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of those stamps are in a film area, little film strip area, right? So that one's in a film strip area. That one is, that one is, that one is. And those are all pop dotted. So from here, we start the bottom, working our way up. We have the palm tree. Most of my products, if you haven't met me before or you don't know anything about me, the majority of my products are based on kind of the adage, necessity is the mother of invention. So if there's something that I want to use and we don't have it, then I'm like, well, I think we should design it and develop it and take it to market. All right. So this little guy will go kind of right in there. There's that one. And then we have Niagara Falls, Passenger Princess stamp. That would be fun, wouldn't it, for the next travel set? I know. Then I have to be careful because some of those things that are pretty specific, some people might be like, Passenger Princess, what the heck does that mean? I lost you for a minute. I'm going to take a quick hydration break while we're coming back. We're back. All right. Um, I just added our second stamp, postage stamp with pop dots, and that is the little Niagara Falls one. All right. Um, this little guy is going to go right here. What I was saying before we got so rudely interrupted again by the darn internet was this. Um, a couple of the products that you will see come out later this year have to do with another trip that Nick, my husband, and I are going on in our RV. We're going to go 2 weeks this summer, and we are going to hit three national parks while we are gone. And I'm going to take you on part of that trip with us. I am going to do some lives while we are on the road. And I will do a live ahead of time to talk about how I am setting up my traveler's notebook before I go so I can easily work in my traveler's notebook while I'm on the road. So I'll do a live video where I'll be setting that up before I go, talking about the different supplies that I will take with me. And we don't have a 800-foot motorhome RV that we're taking either. We don't have one of those. Ours is pretty small, so we can't take everything. And I will talk to you about my method that I've been doing probably the last 4 or 5 years of traveling with my traveler's notebook and documenting on the go. So we'll spend some time. I'll do a live ahead of time as I get ready for that, getting my supplies ready. And then I'll do two lives on the road where I'll actually be working in my traveler's notebook. And I'll have some fun new products to go along with me on that trip that maybe could then go along with you as you are documenting. All right, so there we go. Our inside front cover is done with the exception of a rub-on. So we are back to rub-ons. This whole thing I came up with on this trip. I'm like, oh my gosh, this will be great. I'm going to miss 2 weeks of our Saturday listing, but I'll do lives while I'm gone and I'll work in my traveler's notebook so they'll see what I did and how I documented while I was going. And then I'm like, oh, but we need a couple new products for that. And yeah, so it all came out of me being a passenger princess. All right, so rub-ons again. We are using this guy, Ready to Explore. So Ready to Explore goes right here. We've got two more things to add, a rub-on and a word strip sticker, and then things are going to take a totally different turn. We have done all of this together. We've done all of this step by step. As we continue, there will be things we will not be doing together. We will spend our time together working on, we'll go through every page. We will get every page in and things done on every page. We just won't get everything on every page done. We won't get some of the stickers added because we don't need to be together to do stickers. We won't get some of the rub-ons added because we don't need to be together to do the rub-ons. We will be together doing the things that will be really helpful for us to be together and do. All right. But that's with the exception of the cover and the front cover or front and side cover because I like for us to do those together. All right. So the one I cut out is Ready to Explore. It is going to nestle right in here below the, I was going to call that a stem, below the bottom part of our sign to the left of Rome. So same thing again, I cut it away. We're going to take its friend away. The bottom part of the space shuttle has now left, right? It's gone. And now we are going to put this guy right here. The nice thing about working with a lined paper like this, and even when we had the front cover, you have kind of a frame of reference you can use, but you can use one of those lines to kind of line things up. And remember the rule here, don't let go. Oh, oh, come on, come on, come on. Okay. Just remember the rule here, don't let go, right? Don't let go. I was saying you lines on the paper to help line it up so it's straight-ish. Mm-mm. I think I'm losing you again. Okay, no, we're good. Don't let go. That's the rule, right? So I have my popsicle stick. I have my left hand is holding the left side of the rub-on and popsicle stick in my right hand. And here we go. Remember, don't let that move around while you are rubbing it on. When you work with black rub-ons, at least mine, and everything I'm telling you is from my product, my perspective, what I see. But when you're working with a black rub-on, you can tell pretty easily when that rub-on has released from the release paper, because when it's still on the release paper, it's pretty dark black. But when it has been released and is now on your paper on the project, you'll see it kind of turns like an opaque black, kind of a grayish. um, it's not as shiny anymore. It's kind of opaque. And that is your sign that it has kind of released from the release paper. So I think that looks pretty good. So again, my little tip, I'm still holding on. I want my tweezers. Where did I put my tweezers? Did I put them away there where they go? There's not that much room here, Lil. Where would I have put them? Oh, here they are. Over on my side table. Got my little reverse grip tweezers, and I'm just going to slowly lift. And you can lift from left to right or right to left, or you can lift part of it like Jennifer said she does, and then she lays it down and goes to the other side and lifts from the other side. You just want to make sure that everything has released. If it hasn't released, if you're still holding on, you can just lay it right back down and it's good. But I've released. I can use my finger, or again, if we wanted, we could use a powder tool or baby powder or whatever it is, and then we're good. All right. Now it looks like it's printed on there. That's kind of the magic of rub-ons, as opposed to a sticker, right? It looks like it is printed right on our paper, but we get to control where it goes instead of have it being printed on there. All righty. So now we are ready to start working page by page. Our first page is that 2x2 pocket page. One thing I want to mention right now, the pocket pages that we've used up until this point are Simple Stories pocket pages, right? Oh yeah, I forgot, Louisa. We'll get it on the next one. We'll get it on the next one. Um, so the pocket pages that we've used up until this point, well, not even the pocket pages that we put in our album were the ones that we took out. They were Simple Stories pocket pages. This is not a Simple Stories pocket page. This is an Echo Park pocket page. And this pocket page that you have, that I had us put off to the side, is a Becky Higgins project page. These are all interchangeable with this album. There are only a couple of ring manufacturers, ring mechanisms. This is the ring mechanism. There are only a couple of ring mechanism manufacturers out there in the world. This is a standard. And when I mean standard, I don't mean that's what it's called. I just mean it's a standard one, right? This is a standard, more common ring mechanism. And because it's a more standard ring mechanism, that means that in a lot of cases, our pocket pages that have two holes are interchangeable. So I can take a Echo Park and Echo Park pocket page and add it to a Simple Stories album. I can take a Simple Stories pocket page, add it to an Echo Park album. Same thing with the Doodlebug albums. They all use the same ring configuration, ring mechanism. So all of those pocket pages are interchangeable. Last I checked, even the scrapbook.com ones, as long, pretty much kind of the rule of thumb is that if it is a two um, ring mechanism, that it is going, those are going to be interchangeable. Now, one exception to that, I believe, is Vicky's. If you have a Vicky Bouton, either a Vicky Bouton with American Crafts or a Vicky Bouton with 49 and Market, her ring configuration is not this one, right? So in that case, if you still want to interchange pocket pages and the holes don't match the rings, that's okay. Usually what I do, I'll put washi there, cover up the holes, and then punch my holes to work with whatever album I have. All right, so I just wanted to point that out because I think that's something that's very interesting. Okay, so we've got side by side here. Right off the bat, there's something really different happening. You'll notice this pocket page has three pockets across and four down. And mine has two pockets across and four down. I cut off one row of pockets, right? All I did, I cut off one row of pockets. And you might think, Lael, why did you do that? And I say, well, because I wanted to. And I say also, well, because when you're working in an album like this, a lot of the pages tend to start looking the same in that they're all 6 by 8. They're all 6 by 8, all 6 by 8, all 6 by 8. So I like to switch things up a little bit. And that's what I did here. I just cut that row of pockets away from the pocket page. Now, there's really just one thing you need to make sure to do here. You need to make sure to cut to the right of that seam. Okay? That still preserves that pocket. If I cut into that seam, if I cut into that seam, then that means that pocket is not going to be a pocket anymore. Things will slide out of it. So there's a couple ways I can do that. I can take my scissors and just cut to the right of that seam. I can take my trimmer and cut to the right of that seam. So I will cut it with my trimmer because my trimmer tends to cut a little bit straighter than my hand with my scissors. So I'm right there to the right of that seam and so easy. Those will cut like butter. All right. Cut like butter. I cut to the right of the seam. That is what's left of that pocket page. And I don't use this. All right. I don't use this. So you can get rid of that or use it for something if you want. All righty. So now as we start to work on this pocket page, where we see these little white squares, remember there's a camera there. And now you're seeing the measurement 2 by 2, two. Those are all little 2 by 2 squares, 2 by 2 photos. And if you're like, Lael, I don't have a fancy printer. I don't know how to get 2 by 2 photos. I say, hey, guess what? I got you. Remember at the beginning of class when we talked about this little guy? And I said in your digital instructions that was a hot link. Click that little link on your digital instructions. That will take you to a video here that I created, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, where I walk you through how to use an app called Project Life to get little photos like that out of a 4 by 6. It's super easy. You don't have to have a special printer. If you can print a 4 by 6 photo, either at home or Walgreens or Persnickety Prints or Snapfish or wherever you get your photos printed, you can get little photos like that super easy. All right, so what we're going to do here is we are just going to deal with the pockets that don't have the photos in them, right? Your instructions, we have now moved to the top of page 2. Your instructions will start at the top row. If you think about rows and columns, rows are like a row in a movie theater. Columns are like columns that hold maybe a porch up, right? So rows and columns, we're going to start with the top row and work our way from left to right. That just reminded me. On our inside front cover, we forgot to add a sticker. We forgot to add the sticker that said, let's get away. All right. So I forgot to tell us to do this. So you can go back at any time and add that little let's get away. Here we are starting with a word strip sticker that says tickets. Now I'm going to suggest right now that you don't put any of these word strip stickers on because until you know what photos you're going to add there, those word strip stickers may make sense and they may not. Now they're very generic, tickets all packed, away we go and fun and sun, right? But those are the kind of things that I'm not going to have us do together because you don't need me to tell you where to stick a sticker because your instructions show you and instructions tell you. Also might want to make sense for you to wait until you have your photos. We will do these other guys. Everything here sits on top of the pocket. That is how they're floating. If they went inside the pocket, they wouldn't be able to float. All right, so there's no rule with pocket page scrapbooking that says everything has to go in a pocket. Things can go on the pocket. So we are starting with this guy. This is a sticker. So you have a package of 6 by 12 stickers in your kit. If you purchased the far or the Let's Go mini book project kit, if you purchased the big bundle, then you have the stickers also. So we're using the 6 by 12 stickers. That's one package. You get those two sticker sheets. I'm looking for this guy. Explore the world. And this guy is just going right there at the top of the pocket page. Okay, in that far right pocket. Next up, adventure. So adventure is a die cut. Or excuse me, also a sticker. That is also going on top of the pocket page. So TK, what TK said, if sometimes if she wants to put things into the pocket and have them float, she will use what do I do with it? She will use the pockets that we just cut off. So if you want to do that, you can take the pocket that you just cut off and make it smaller than 2 by 2. It needs to be smaller. I'd say maybe like 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So then in that case, you would take that sticker, attach it to that little piece of plastic, and then tuck the little plastic into the pocket page. All right. Sometimes if I'm working with sequins or maybe little small gold stars or something that are a little bit harder to stick to the pocket page or might fall off, these have a lot of surface area, so they're pretty good sticking. But if you have something smaller, that's a really good tip for adding it inside of the pocket page, but still having it float and not fall out using plastic from what we cut off there. Next up, we have Book the Trip. Book the Trip is a die cut. And I don't want you to worry right now about what the back of this page is going to look like. I got you. So we're just adding a little bit of adhesive to Book the Trip, and that will go right there. Here we have our suitcase. You can pretty much use any type, you can pretty much use any type of adhesive. When you are adhering things to the top of your pocket page, I would say with the exception of a liquid adhesive. And I do consider a glue stick a liquid adhesive. So you don't want to use any like liquid glue to try to adhere those to the top of your pocket page. It just won't stick, right? That glue won't stick to your plastic. If you wanted to use a stapler or a tiny attacher, your little tiny Tim Holtz stapler, you could also kind of staple those to the pocket page. That works as well. All right. I would just recommend if you plan on adding anything inside the pocket page, like if you wanted to put something here, don't staple until you add your photo or whatever it may be. All right. We added our little suitcases. That is a die cut. I just added that right there. And then we have a couple things that we want to do. We are looking for two circles. We have the green circle airplane and we have the red circle globe. Your red circle globe does not say discover on it. That is a word strip sticker that I added. So we're looking for green airplane and red globe. And I put all my little tiny circles in one little container here together. And you'll notice that they actually have your little circles are going to hang off the side of the page. So here's the deal. We're going to finish this page and I'm going to show you the cover of that stinking album because I know what's happening. You guys are all sending, like, you're all sending words to say, show us, show us. So we keep getting that weird glitch. Anyhow, we adhered our suitcases to the top of the page. We grabbed our two little circles, right? We've got our two little circles there. And we're going to adhere them so they hang off the side of the page. So I'm going to turn this guy over like that. And it will come down here to the side. And it's about half hanging off the side of the page and half on the page. And then I'm going to turn it over and I will do the same thing with that little globe. Do 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 do. All right. All right. So I just added my green airplane and I added the red circle globe on the backside, and they both hang off the edge and they meet kind of. Oh, Reggie, get in your bucket. Cat wants to come in. No, 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 Reggie, get in your bucket. He would love to be on camera right now. He's not going to be on camera. We'll get this page done and then I'll show you. Okay. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. All right, one more thing that we need to do because it's kind of plain. Even when we get our photos in, it's still kind of plain. This is where we're going to take advantage of our packaging. All right, that little strip right there. That strip we are going to cut off of our packaging. Is it this guy? Not that guy. Let's go over here. Smaller one. Not that guy. Where did I get it? Oh, I bet it's the backside. It is. Don't ask me why I use the backside. Anyhow, so grab your little trimmer and we are going to trim off that rainbow strip from the top of our package. That will give us a nice, good pop of color on there. Um, the Far and Wide collection is super neutral when it comes to travel. I mean, it will work for pretty much any kind of travel, whether it is city travel or country travel or beach or, whatever it is. That is by design. All right, so you can decide where you would like, kind of what part of that pattern that you would like. I think I decided I wanted to have um, kind of some orange on both edges. That's funny. Deborah said, I did some extra prep last night and couldn't find her large die cut package. She said, guess what? The bottom of the sticker sheet works too. Yeah, that is a sticker, right? Sticker sheet, that is a sticker. You could just cut that off and you actually have two of those, right? And then you could just use it as a sticker instead of as your little die cut. So we're going to, just going to get a little bit of tape runner here along the bottom. I'm not going to use, remember, I don't want to use my glue pen because my glue pen is liquid. Yep, you totally could. Yep, Terry, you totally could. But this way you'll have lots of different rainbow strips to use. I use a couple throughout the project, but I never used that one. You guys are so smart. All right, there we go. And now we're just going to trim it off. Trim off the excess. All right, so this is kind of a nice little pop of color there, or pop of colors. Pop of colors. All right. Um, Your instructions will tell you and show you the different word strip stickers that I adhered. Word strip stickers, they're basically like earrings, right? As long as you get out of the house with earrings in your ears, you're good. They're just earrings, doesn't matter which ones. Your word strip stickers are the exact same. They're just basically, they're just a little accent. So if you decide you want to use tickets somewhere else and you say, Lael, can I use home away from home? I don't know. There's something like that. Can I use that here instead? Because I want to use something else. Or I say, sure, use whatever you want. We may use the one that you choose somewhere else in the project. You can just use the word strip stickers however you'd like. Now we have some things that we want to cover up on the back. So I'm adding, let's grab our die cuts. We are looking for Route 312, Interstate 1, vacay, and our another stamp, little stamp die cut. Stamp. Is that a die cut or it is a die cut? Nope, it's a sticker. Let's start with that guy. Okay. So that stamp is a sticker. It's just going kind of right there on the back of the suitcases. And that should just help to serve to cover up any of our adhesive, right? We don't want our adhesive to really be shown. Having another sip of water. Okay. We have vacay. That's a ticket. That will go there. We have Interstate 1 and Route 312. And those are meant to be really general, okay? We didn't really pick a specific interstate or route knowing that it may or may not work for you, so they're just meant to be general. And if you're okay with the back of that being there, then just leave it there. Tape runner. Okay, here we go. That will go there. And this little guy will go here. So we're just kind of covering up. And then you'll have, oopsie, I didn't adhere that one. Then you'll have photos in those remaining places and more word strip stickers. Departure right here, out and about, and and 2 by 2, Cully. Departure right here, out and about, and then discover. All right, but we won't do those together because we don't need to spend time doing that together. Those are things that you guys can do on your own so we can keep going. All right, ready to go. Now, I said as soon as we got through that page, I would share a sneak peek. So let's do it. Let's do it. I am showing you a sneak peek. It just came at like 5:30 today. UPS delivered it. When I'm back. You didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything. Okay. So, what I was saying, you didn't miss anything. I'm back. Um, what I was saying is big ticket items. What I consider a big ticket item or a big investment for my business would be if I'm producing my own albums. That's a big ticket item because I have to buy a lot, right? If I'm producing my own traveler's notebook covers, that would be a big ticket item. That would be five big ticket items because there are five of them coming out later this year that we just wrapped designs on. But big ticket items like that for my business because they are more expensive than a package of stickers or die cuts, and I'm ordering a large quantity. Um, I get samples of them first to make sure that they are to the quality that I would expect, right? So this just came this afternoon. There is one change to this, but this is the album for my Christmas collection this year. The Christmas collection is called Holidays. It will launch in August, late August, along with my, oh my gosh, I think my 13th annual December documented mini book project kit. So this is the album. Now, there is one change. The stars that you see here are black. These stars will not be black. The stars are kind of a matte gold foil finish. So this is the album. There are 2-inch, big 2-inch rings inside. So you have lots and lots and lots of room for lots of stuff to go inside. But you guys, I'm so excited about that. That's going to be so much fun. Again, those stars will not be black. Those stars are gold foil, kind of a matte-ish gold foil that will be there. And then look, they even wrap around the cover. Isn't that fun? Very excited. You'll actually see that used in totally different ways, but in two mini book project kits that come out later this year. Another one is Halloween. And guess who's coming out with the Halloween collection too this year? It's called Booville. It's all done as well. Anyhow, um, so many awesome things coming. But there's your sneak peek, and that sneak peek is there to say thank you for dealing with all of the um, weird little interruptions that we've had with the internet. Okay, so continuing on, our next page is the chipboard divider. You guys, some of our pages are going to be super easy, like so easy, and this is one. All we're going to do right here together is put the paper down. And that paper is from the 12 by 12 paper that has the 6 by 8 pieces and the 4 by 6 pieces. So let's figure out where I have those. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That just gets centered. It's getting centered top, bottom, and right. All right, so you can see that it's kind of centered along the top and the bottom and the right edge. We are not dealing with the holes. All right, we're just going to the right of the holes. And here I am using my tape runner. It's not going all the way to the edge. I don't have to worry about it lifting. So there we go. I guess might as well do this. Let's grab our stickers. No, die cuts. Die cuts, die cuts. We need the tab that says adventure. So those are here. And I bet you can now guess where the other tabs are going that you see in the die cuts too. We'll be using them on the chipboard dividers. Okay, so just a little adhesive on that guy. And that guy, you can either put it on top of, I think this one I'll put on top of. Like that. Okay. So that's it. Um, you can add later the here and there. And I'm going to have a skip that. We'll start skipping things like that because we can get further in some of the interactive things that we need to do. So the back side, we have another 6 by 8 piece, that guy. We also have another one of our large die cuts, and it is this guy. All right. So if we go over here, uh, Carrie said, I love the luggage so much, but colored mine in, so it gave it a touch of color. That's a great idea, right? If you have colored pens, colored markers, if you do fancy things with inks, you could do some really fun things with those suitcases there, coloring them in. Love it. All right, so we're taking this guy. This is this piece. Room for lots of writing there if you like to write in your mini books, which a travel one, I hope you do, because there's a lot of stories to tell with your traveling. And if not, then just add photos or whatever you'd like there. We also have this guy. That is another one of our large die cuts. So if you are a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, guess what? Your large die cuts are great for your scrapbook pages, right? That's a great title on a 12 by 12 page. Your travel, like this, is a great title on your 12 by 12 page. All of these, because they're large, they're like jumbo dice, work great in your traveler's notebooks. That is why you see no holes in any of these. I think I just lost you for a second. That is why you see no holes in any of these, right? If we added holes to them, then they kind of by default have to be pages that you put in a mini album. But if we leave them without holes, then you can use them wherever you want for whatever you want. In this case, we are going to adhere it along the right edge over the holes of our page, and then we will repunch the holes. So because I work in a lot of different size things, primarily in traveler's notebooks. That's kind of my thing. Traveler's notebooks have really been my thing probably for the last 10 years or so. But leaving them like that without holes just makes it so much more of a useful product because you can use them in traveler's notebooks or a planner or a bullet journal or a mini book or on a 12 by 12 scrapbook page. Did you ever have an alphabet stamp set like the Travelog die cut? We did, Joanne. We did. And it got retired. But you know what? It now would probably be a really good time to bring it back out again. And it's easy for us to bring it back out. We just need to reorder them. So I will do that. I will do that. We'll bring that stamp set back out. It's probably been, I don't know, we probably bought it out maybe 3 years ago. Um, and it was called Hold Please. I just walked across the room for a minute. This one. It was called Now Boarding because it kind of looks like your destination or your arrival and departure boards, right? So that was it. It was called Now Boarding. And I will place a reorder for those because I think it'd be fun to bring those back. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. So now we need to repunch our holes. One of the items on your supply list, we haven't used it yet, but is a kind of your regular standard size hole punch. So I am going to just repunch those little holes there. What I will have you guys do to finish, you will add your, Reggie, no, no, no. I don't know. Did you guys just see that? No, no, no. Paw's trying to come in. Did you see a paw trying to reach out over there? Oh, poor guy. He just wants to come say hi. And I would let him say hi, but the problem is then he would be sitting here and it'd be really hard. Oh yeah, there was a little paw up in that little right-hand corner. Oh, Reggie. Anyhow, I would let him in, but then he would lay right here and we would have a heck of a time doing any work. All right. So what I'm going to have you guys do later, or if you would like, you can press pause and do these things and then rejoin us. You will add this little piece that says adventure begins here. That is a sticker. And then I've made lots of kind of little pieces here with the layer because you have two sticker sheets and two full packs of die cuts. We have lots of fun pieces that we can play with and layer. So your instructions will tell you kind of in what order to layer these. So I started out with the yellow on the go. That's a die cut. On top of that, put our little suitcase. That is a sticker. And then this little geotag goes on top. That is a die cut. This little open suitcase. You guys, isn't that amazing? My designer, Becky, is so freaking talented. Look at that. I mean, look at all those little tiny pieces. And if you look really closely, there is even a craft storage pouch right there, a clear one that has a little traveler's notebook inside of it. Crazy, huh? Oh, not that yet. Your little passport goes next, then that pop dotted, and then your little arrow to kind of take us over to the next page. So those pieces we won't do together. Your instructions show you and tell you what to do, and that will make it so that we can keep going, so we can get through this project in a reasonable amount of time, so that we can work on things like this that are a little bit more interactive. Some of the things that we need to build, like this guy. This obviously is not in your project yet, not in your book, right? We put all the pages in our book in order that we'd be working on them, but this one is not there because this one we need to make. So this is when Lael needs to pay attention to the instructions. We are luggage pocket front, bottom of page 2. So we are looking for the 5.5 wide by 8-inch tall black words piece. That would be this one. That's what I mean by black words. So go to your papers that look like that. This would probably be the first thing if you are not making the project with us and you're like, okay, where am I going to learn something that I can use for something else that I'm doing? This would probably be the first thing, right? We're making a little slash pocket here, slash pocket. There's a slash there. We can put our things in. So we're looking for that 5.5 by 8 black words piece. So if you're not seeing it, look at the front side, the back side of your papers. Backwards piece. Here we go. So one side has your baggage tags, your luggage tags. The other side is your block words. And so grab your ruler. We want to make sure that that is the piece we're looking for. It is 5.5 wide by 8 inches tall. Measure 2 inches up from the bottom left corner and make a mark on the 5.5 by 5.5 luggage piece. All right. 5.5 by 5.5 luggage piece. This Becky drew every single one of those pieces. None of it's clip art, none of it's AI. Becky draws everything. She makes everything that we do. So any of that art, if you're looking at going like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It is, right? There's that little open suitcase with a little traveler's notebook in there. So double check, that should be 5.5 by 5.5. So we want to take a ruler or our trimmer. You can use either one if you don't have a ruler. If you're using a trimmer, you're only using the trimmer for the ruler. You're not using it to cut yet. Instructions say to measure 2 inches up from the bottom left corner. Okay, here's our bottom left corner. I rotated it. I'm going to measure 2 inches up from the bottom left corner, and I'm going to make a little mark right there with a pencil. Just a little mark. All right. Then we want to measure 1 inches from the left of the upper right corner. 1 inch from the left of the upper right. So here's the upper right. We want to measure 1 inch to the left. We're measuring in. That's going to give us that little piece right there. Upper right corner, 1 inch in, 1 inch to the left, and that is our mark. All right, so I made 2 marks. There's a mark right here, 2 inches up from the lower left. There's a mark right here, 1 inch from the right corner, right there and there. Now we're going to take our trimmer and we're going to just trim between those 2 marks. If that makes you nervous, you could take your ruler and a pencil, draw a line between those 2 marks, and then cut. I won't do that. I feel pretty confident about just lining up those marks on my trimmer. So I'm going to start with that mark right there. That's the upper right corner. And then I'm going to come rotate this all the way until I find that mark that was 2 inches up from the left. All right, so get that one there in line of my trimmer, that one there in line of my trimmer. That looks pretty good. And remember, this doesn't need to be exact, right? We're not trying to bake a cake where we have to have just the right amount of baking powder and baking soda or the whole thing just goes flat. Here, we're just, want to make a little bit of a slash, a little bit of an angle. There we go. That is our pocket. Now, hang on to this because I don't remember if we use this or not. Hang on to it. I don't think we did, but I can't remember. So just hold on to it. Okay, so now in order to make our pocket, right, this pocket opens from the top adhesive along the sides and the bottom on the red side. Now, what I suggest that you use for any kind of pocket is double-sided score tape. So double-sided tape like this, super strong, okay? Anytime you're doing something interactive, and this is interactive because things will be going in and out of the pocket. Anytime you're doing something interactive, it's going to put strain on all of those points, right? So you want to make sure you're nice and secure. Using a double-sided tape like that is super helpful. This is 1/4 inch score tape. I generally use 1/4 inch because, well, we'll get there. I'll explain why I use 1/4 inch when we get to another interactive element. We're basically just now adding tape along the bottom and the sides, like so. Now, don't get all excited yet. Don't get excited and go and peel up all the release paper. This is probably the most helpful tip that I've ever learned. My friend Joey, that worked for Basil years ago, and you worked for American Crafts, and then worked for Photoplay. Um, she taught me this in a class years ago. This is probably one of the best scrapbooking tips, paper crafting tips that I think I've ever learned, especially when it comes to working with double-sided tape like this. Double-sided tape is a double-edged sword. What I mean by that, it's awesome because it's really sticky, but it's also not very good because it's really sticky. Excuse me. What I mean by that is once the release paper is off, you basically have one shot to get that piece straight. And I don't know about you, but when I do that, it's never straight, but it's super sticky. So once it's down, don't try to peel it back up because it will make a mess. It'll start ripping paper. And we don't want to do that. Had to take a quick hydration break. So what I want you to do is I want you to just peel a little back of that release paper back. So it's sticky there, but it's not sticky there because the release paper. Notice when I did that, I pointed that piece off to the outside edge. I will do the same thing here. Just peel a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch. I mean, maybe a quarter of it or a third of it. Same thing. Uh, I've got that little part that's been revealed sticking out the bottom, and I will do the same thing on the side. What that's going to give for me, it's going to give me a lot of wiggle room when I go to adhere that. I am adhering that to the bottom of my blackwords piece. And look what I can do. I am touching it. I am touching it. It is not sticking at all. If you've ever tried to use double-sided tape like that, you can't do that because wherever you put it, it is now stuck. But because only part of it is revealed, part of that sticky is revealed, it gives you a lot of wiggle room. So I can really work it around here to make sure I get it all straight. Once it's straight, I press down the part that has been revealed. Now it's stuck. And then I've got little pull tabs. Those are my little pull tabs that I just pull out. And now I have a nice pocket that is straight and it's going to be nice and secure, right? I can put a lot of stuff in that. I don't know about you, but when I travel, I take lots of photos and I could have 800 pages in this book and I would never have enough room for all my photos. So pockets like this are great for adding photos, adding memorabilia, brochures, tickets, things like that. All right, so now what we need to do, we want to go ahead and punch our holes. We want to punch our holes right away. Once we turn to the other side, we have lost kind of our reference point. Depending on whether there is a directional pattern on the back side or not, sometimes there's no direction to the pattern on the back side, and we forget which is the left side and which is the right side. We don't want our pages to end up upside down, okay? So right now, we want to go ahead and punch our holes. What I'm going to have us do, I want you to take one of your packaging pieces, like this guy, all right? I don't want you to take the one from the large die cuts because we're going to cut that up. Just take either the die cut icons or your die cut titles packaging. And I want you to grab the next page in your book. The next page in your book should be this guy. That is the graph paper. We're going to create a template. So we have a template every time we're making something and want to punch our holes, we have a template. So I am going to line that up. So those holes look like they're about even-ish, right? They don't have to be perfect. From here to the bottom and here to the top. That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to use that as my little hole punch guide. And I will punch that hole and I will punch that hole. Now, If you work with Simple Stories albums a lot, or Now We Know, same mechanism for Echo Park or scrapbook.com or Doodlebug, you could make something like this that is laminated, right? You could make your own template that's laminated and you just always have it. Anytime you're working with a project like this, you just pull it out. That is now our template. You could use one of your pages every time to punch the holes, but what I find is my holes start to get really skiwampus because I'm not perfect every time when I'm punching holes. So I don't care if this guy gets a little skiwampus and my holes get, kind of weird, because this is just my template. So now I have my template. Now I'm going to line it up on this piece and I am going to look, I want my holes to be, I want that to be even-ish, top to bottom, and that looks pretty good. No one's going to measure on you. No one's going to know if it's exactly perfect. So I am punching my holes and I punched my holes along that left edge, right? Because this is a page that is going on the right side. Punch my holes on the left edge. All right. So that is all we are going to do together on the front side of this page, the front side of this pocket. What you guys will do to finish later, I've added a little die cut right there that says Oasis in, little key. I've also added this die cut that says go see do. Um, Carrie, so if you're watching live and you're looking at the chat, generally God, we just lost a whole bunch of people all of a sudden. If you are watching live and you're watching if you are watching live and you're watching the chat and someone writes something in the chat that seems we were buffering for a minute there. I'm watching for that to happen. So you didn't miss anything. As soon as I see that it's doing that, I stop talking. So I don't want you to worry that you're missing anything. We rounded our corners. All right, we've got our corners rounded, and I just want to say that again to make sure that that didn't cut me off. As soon as I see that it's buffering and I'm watching for that, you guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why we're having so many problems with the buffering tonight. It's just really bizarre. Never seen it do that like this. Something really bizarre is going on. So just apologies. I know it's annoying, but we just got to work with it because I can't stop and start us again. In order to stop and start us again, I have to start a whole new YouTube link, and then that gets that then I have to send out the link to everybody, and it's a long involved process. So apologies, but you didn't miss anything because I stopped. So we rounded our corners. When I'll have you guys add this later. We won't do this together. We're just working on the pocket. You can add that Oasis in key, and then this little piece that says go see do. Your die cut that says go see do. Kind of sounds like do si do, but go see do, right? Yeah, Deborah, it's been storming kind of all late afternoon and into the night, so I can't see outside right now. I don't know if that's what still happened. It was super windy, so who knows? Just apologies. And then great spot for adding your photos, adding memorabilia, tickets, and things. I also took that little die cut that says packing list and just tucked that in there as well. All right, now the next pages we kind of need to work on together. So there's two pages that we're going to work on together. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. So I want you to see what we are making. We'll go way up high here. Move all the things out of the way. Go way up high. This is why I want us to work on both of these pages together. Normally we work one page at a time. So we have the back of our pocket. Make sure that your tags are facing the correct direction. Your hole should be on the right. You didn't want to turn your tags upside down. If you turn your tags upside down, then your page is upside down. So take a minute to make sure that you're good. Let's get those way up there. So you can see these two pages work together. We are taking another one of our large die cuts, and it is this ticket. We're actually making two pockets out of it. So we'll look at this first. This pocket opens from the top, and again, we can add our memorabilia, our photos, what have you, in that top pocket. And then over here, it becomes a side pocket. So we'll be making something that slides into that side pocket. All right, top pocket and side pocket, not to be confused with a hot pocket. All right, so take this guy. We are at the bottom of page 3 on our instructions. We are at luggage pocket back. This is our luggage. This is the luggage pocket. This is the back of the luggage. Luggage pocket back. We want to trim our airplane ticket large die cut, 5.5 inches from the left. Basically, we're going to trim to the right of those little dashes. And a ticket like this, that's usually perforation, right? So we're going to trim to the right of the perforation. It's not really perforated in real life, it just looks like it is. So grab your trimmer. I just spun around 360 degrees looking for mine. And we're trimming to the right of those little kind of vertical dash marks, right? This is our pocket that's going to open from the top, and this is our pocket that's going to open from the side. Our pocket that's going to open from the top. We want to turn that over and we will apply our adhesive to the sides and the bottom, right? It's a pocket that opens from the top. So our adhesive on the sides and the bottom. And when I talk about adhesive, again, this is a pocket. It's an interactive element. We want to use, if you have it, your double-sided tape. Go-see-do. Let me see where that go-see-do came from. But adhere go-see-do die cut. Where did I get the go-see-do die cut? Let me look at the back of the packaging. Let me look at the stickers. It is not on the die cut titles. Let's look here. It is not on the, oh, there we go. It is from the, oh, where are those? Where are those? It's from our cut aparts. Thank you. Instructions say it's from the die cuts. It's not a die cut. It is from our 12 by 12 cut apart paper. So it is from the stack that has kind of the yellow background with the airplanes flying. Sorry about that. It's funny. I designed the project and then sometimes it could be a week later, couple days later when I'm writing instructions and I just assumed those were die cuts. So it's somewhere in that stack. All right. There it is. There it is. All right. Get that back in the right space. Okay, so we're making this a pocket. So we want to turn this over. We're adding our adhesive to the sides and the bottom. Just like we did the pocket on the front side. Sides and the bottom. Make sure that's the bottom. And just as we did before, we're going to only reveal a portion of that release paper or pull away a portion of the release paper and reveal a portion of that double-sided tape like that. And again, we're folding those towards the outside so those become little pull tabs that we can peel the rest of the thing out. Rotating this is the lower left corner. I rotate it just because it's easier for me to handle that way. Since I'm right-handed. And then we will come in and pull those, oopsie, lost him there. Pull those pieces out to create our pocket. Now we rounded the corners on the front side of that. So we're going to come back in with our little corner rounder here. And one of the corners is already rounded because the ticket is rounded. Come on. Ticket's rounded over here. All right. So there is our pocket. And I've just added photos in that pocket. All right. So now we have this side. So this side we need to trim. This was the page that we had in our book. That is the grid or the graph paper. It is much smaller than the grid or the graph paper that we cut from the 12 by 12. So just to reiterate, this already has holes. This was a page from our book that we pulled out and then added back in. It is not cut from 12 by 12 paper. So we are going to the top of page 3 now. This is the grid insert front. Trim this to 3.5 inches wide. Okay, so 3.5 inches wide, trim from the left edge so you don't have to repunch your holes. 3.5 inches wide. And I bet you can guess why we are trimming to 3.5 inches wide. That gives us enough room here. Oh, we need to come back here. Sorry. Come back here and repunch that hole that we covered up. All right, it gives us enough room for a little bit of a side pocket here. So side pockets, we want to put our adhesive along the top and bottom, at least along the top and bottom. You might also decide to put it along the left edge, but really nothing's going to fall out when it's in your album because it'll be in the album. Nothing can really escape. So you can decide if you want to do it along all three, top, bottom, and side. And we're making this a side pocket because it would be kind of hard to put anything in the top, right? Because it's pretty narrow. We do all different kinds of things in this class with these large die cuts. This is my I think I have to say, I think the large die cuts are my favorite product in the Far and Wide collection. I think they're just so fun. They're so versatile. We'll use them in a couple of different ways in this project. And I've used them in a couple of different ways already in my Traveler's Notebook. All right, so the main thing here is we want to make sure that the pages are lined up. All right, so hang on. Line up those little pages and line up your ticket. You want that? We're back. You didn't miss anything. Come on. We'll see. Oh, we're moving. I can see us moving. I can see my fingers moving. All right. You didn't miss anything. I adhered, so my ticket lines up, right? I am going to trim off. There's a little bit, there's maybe like, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch of this white grid kind of hanging below my ticket. So I'm just going to trim that off. I'm not cutting into that pocket. I am just trimming off that excess right there. Okay. And now my pockets line up. I need to repunch the hole in the back side of this. Like so. So this side is done. This side we can put into our book. And then we are ready for the other side. We're going to create this little tag that sits in the side pocket. So in this little bag that we talked about before, if you purchased the mini book project kit, you had all of these pieces. If you purchased the Far and Wide big bundle, this was a supplies add-on that you could purchase to, this was part of, there are more things to it, but that you could, pieces that were non-Far and Wide that you need to complete the project. So we are taking this tag. You have 3 tags in there. You kind of have a small, medium, and large. Papa bear, mama bear, baby bear, baby bear. This would be the middle one. This would be mama bear. Okay. So we are going to take this ticket and we want to trim it so it is 4¼ inches tall. We're going to trim part of the bottom off because it's too tall. If I put it in here in this pocket, it's going to stick way, way out. We do want it to stick out a little bit, but not that much. So we want this to be 4¼ inches tall. We want to trim from the bottom. 4¼ right there. We're just cutting a little bit off. And then that will make it so not so much sticks out that edge. All right. I did outline those pieces. I mean, I've outlined everything, right? So if you want to outline that later, you can. The piece that we're looking for now is this little piece that says Adventure Awaits. Adventure Awaits is coming from the cut aparts, the ones that we were just looking at a minute ago. Basically everything that's on the back side or the front side, this is the back side of that yellow with the little airplanes. So we want this ticket or this piece, Adventure Awaits. that we are going to adhere to the bottom of that tag, like so. And that is all I'm going to have us do with that piece together. All right. So I'm going to put it in here right now. I'm going to put these two or this other page in my book. And then I will show you kind of what I did here to finish it up. Oh, I need the back side. We'll better wait for the back. All right. You have a die cut, this little die cut that says travel more, worry less. You know something I learned? This suitcase, that type of suitcase that you carry on with you on the airplane, do you know what that's called? And I found this out because when I was writing the instructions, I wanted to make sure I called that the right thing. I've always called that a rollerboard. Roller, ROLLER, a rollerboard suitcase because it rolls. It's not called a rollerboard, it's called a roll board. One word, ROLLABOARD. And I travel a lot. I never knew that. Rollerboard. It's called a roll aboard, like aboard a ship. Um, aboard, all aboard on a train, right? We're back. I'll take a quick hydration break. Apologies, friends. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. Especially if you were watching the replay, you're like, oh my gosh, nothing we can do about it when it's live, unfortunately. If it was pre-recorded, I could edit all that out, but it's live. All right, so this little tag, that is a rollerboard suitcase. That is just literally sitting right on top of that little hole in the tag. You'll cut another 6-inch piece of string and loop that through. We won't do that together. We don't need to spend the time to do that together. So that will be ready to tuck right into your side pocket. Another thing I will have you do after the fact, that is a rub-on right there. That's a rub-on. So adventure often, and then you have all this room to either add a photo or do a little writing on there if you'd like. That little guy just tucks right into that side pocket. And when you tuck it in, don't overlap the holes. Obviously, it will sit to the right of the holes. And then you have a nice little piece that when you turn it over, you can see that. Another thing I'll have you do later, that is also a rub-on. That just go is a rub-on. Okay, so now we're ready to turn that over to the back side. This goes over here. And we have two little things we're going to do. Time for New Adventure is a die cut, and Book It is one of our, those little cut aparts again, right? So yellow on the back side, Book It. Book It goes at the bottom, kind of centered at the bottom. A rolling carry-on. Yeah, yes, we could too call it a rolling carry-on. I just call it always a rollerboard. Roller board. Two words. Roller board. Do 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 do. We are here. Okay, we are here. Book it, book it, book it. All right, now we're taking this piece. Time for a new adventure. And I have put my adhesive on the back of that. And that little kind of washi right there, washi. It looks like washi on top of our little die cut. It's going to stick over the top of the page, so just a little bit. All right, friends. So we have had a couple of those in a row. If it continues like that, where it keeps like every 2 minutes doing that, I will stop the video. It will end this particular video, and I will start a new one. I will put, if we have to do that, I will put the link to the new video in the description box of this video. All right. So just know if that happens, I'll be gone for like 10 minutes and then I will put the new link in the description box of this video. I hope we don't have to do that, but it just gets to a point. If it's going to start doing that to us, well, I'm going to go, I'll stop, we'll reset the internet and we will start everything. We'll start not everything over, but we'll rub on that goes right. Oh my heavens. All right. Yep. 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 All right. All right. It's almost like it heard me say that. All right. It's almost like it heard me say that. You guys, this is now happening way too frequently. We just can't keep going like this. It's too frustrating for me. It's too frustrating for you. So, what I'm going to do, I have to end this video. I can't like reset or do anything. The way that YouTube works when it's live, you have to completely end the video. So, I will end this video. I will be back. It is getting very late for some of you. Some of you, it is 11 p.m. Eastern time. So if you don't rejoin me, no worries. If you're like, hey, Lael, this is my sign to pick this up later, I totally get it. But I will be back. So I am going to end this YouTube session. I need about 10 minutes to reset the internet and then to create a new YouTube live, a new live. There will be a new link. All right. So that new link I will post in the description box of this video. So that's where you will know to find it. And then if you want to join me again tonight, awesome. If you end up joining me again later, that's awesome too. Just apologies. Just know when technology decides to not cooperate, it is so very frustrating. So if I see you again in 10 minutes or so, awesome. Otherwise, I will end up sending an email out to everyone with that second link. So I will do that first thing in the morning. I will get that. Actually, I'll still do it tonight. It'll be late, but I'll still do it tonight. I don't want to wait. So if you don't kind of continue with me tonight, no worries. There'll be another link that goes out. Just watch for that link in an email. Okay. Also, it will be in the description box of this video. So give me about 10 minutes. It is 8:54 Mountain Time, so it will be 7:54 right now Pacific Time. Give me about 10 minutes or so, and then I'll be back. All right, you guys. Thank you. See you in a bit.